If it's Friday night, oh yes it is, Strictly Sports. Hello friends, Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. We are delighted to have you with us as always. We got a loaded show. Let's get right to it. Peyton Manning was cleared of HGH use this week, and that's how we're going to start it off. And I'm joined as always by Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. I'm sorry for the slight delay. We were waiting on Michael Fletcher to come in. He needed a little bit to get ready, so he's here now. So, yeah, if you didn't hear, great news in the world of the NFL. Peyton Manning was cleared of HGH use, and we're going to dive right into it here and now. Okay. The NFL did an investigation, and they concluded that Peyton Manning did not use HGH or any other PEDs. NFL has determined Peyton Manning did not use human growth hormone or any other performance-enhancing drugs under the league's policy. League announced its decision in a statement released Monday, saying that it found no credible evidence of allegations in an Al Jazeera America report that Manning's wife received deliveries of HGH in 2011. Before making its final determination, the NFL interviewed Manning and his wife Ashley, who were fully cooperative with the investigation according to the league. NFL also received medical records pertinent to the case, and after reviewing them and the interviews, determined there wasn't any evidence that any violation had occurred. The NFL Players Association also issued a statement later Monday about Manning, who retired earlier this offseason. As a former player, Peyton Manning is free to do whatever he believes is in his best interest, the NFLPA statement said. The union knows that he understands the rights of players under the collective bargaining agreement and would never do anything to hurt or undermine active players in support of those rights. Al Jazeera America reported in December that an intern at an Indianapolis anti-aging clinic was secretly recorded suggesting that Ashley Manning received shipments of HGH. Peyton Manning, then with the Indianapolis Colts, was rehabbing from neck injuries and surgeries. HGH is banned by professional sports leagues and is legal to prescribe for only a few specific medical conditions. The intern, Charles Sly, recanted his statements, which were recorded without his knowledge. He said they were fabricated in an attempt to impress a potential business partner. Manning angrily denounced the report, calling it completely fabricated, complete trash, garbage, and insisting he never took shortcuts in his return to football after missing the 2011 season with neck problems. He said he supported an NFL investigation into the report. Manning retired after his Denver Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers to win Super Bowl 50 in February. While Manning is now in the clear, other players may not be. The league still is planning to interview Packers linebackers Julius Peppers and Clay Matthews when Green Bay's camp opens Monday, along with former Packers defensive lineman Mike Neal and Steelers linebacker James Harrison, all of whom were mentioned in the Al Jazeera report. Packers coach Mike McCarthy on Monday sounded confident that Matthews and Peppers also would eventually be exonerated. I have not talked to them recently about it. I talked to them back in the season when it first came out, and frankly, I don't have anything else to really report on it, McCarthy said. I have no reason to be concerned based on the conversations I've been a part of. Each of the players sent written affidavits to the NFL thinking that was sufficient for the league's investigation. The league thought otherwise and is now demanding that each player meet with NFL security and legal teams. Failure to participate in interviews with the league would be considered as part of the evaluation process for potential discipline. This is a matter the league security and legal teams have been studying and assessing since Al Jazeera's report in December. During its investigation, the league studied multiple medical records, worked in consultation with what it believed were expert witnesses, and conducted laboratory analysis. Commissioner Roger Goodell had vowed to pursue the matter when the Al Jazeera report broke. On January 11th of this year, the league notified Peppers, Neal, Matthews, and Harrison that it had initiated an investigation following the airing of the Al Jazeera America documentary, which raised serious issues concerning their possible violation of the NFL/NFLPA policy on performance-enhancing substances. The NFL wrote in a letter to the NFLPA last month, the players were advised that with their full and timely cooperation, the investigation would be conducted expeditiously and with minimal disruption. While the investigation has proceeded, we have yet to interview the players. We have attempted since early April to work through the NFLPA to schedule them. But despite multiple requests, the NFLPA has failed to respond, except to seek reconsideration of the basis for the investigation. This continuing delay and avoidance has obstructed our ability to conduct and conclude the investigation. In fairness to all, including the players involved, we must move forward with the interviews. Accordingly, this will advise that the interviews of Peppers, Matthews, and Harrison will be scheduled for the first day of their respective training camps, and the interview of Mr. Neal will take place on or before July 22nd. The players will be advised of the specific scheduling details by separate correspondence of which the NFLPA will be copied, and of course, an NFLPA representative may attend each interview should the players so request. So that's the big news right there. So let's just say it like this: I never had any doubt. I had no doubt in my mind whatsoever. I never knew Peyton Manning to be a cheat. None of us knew Peyton Manning to be a cheat. I mean, Peyton Manning will go down as maybe the greatest statistical quarterback you will ever see. I mean, he set records upon records in his time with Indianapolis as well as Denver, and in that time, I never had any doubt in my mind whatsoever that, oh yeah, he's on something. Yeah, I never ever thought he was on something. I mean, that would be like saying I was on something, or Fletch was on something, or Bullock was on something. I mean, the point is, he had every right to angrily denounce that report. I mean, he called it fabricated, complete trash, and garbage. I felt the exact same way. I mean, yes, he was battling neck issues in 2011, which would turn out to be his final year in Indianapolis before he signed with Denver in that off season, and thankfully everything is okay with that, and he got to go out on top as a Super Bowl champion this past February when his Broncos beat Carolina in Super Bowl 50, and so I am very pleased that his legacy will not be tarnished in any way. If it had been concluded that he had been on something, well, then I would have been going on a major rant right now. But thankfully, no need for a rant. I'm glad he was exonerated. As for the other players that I just mentioned, well, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, we'll hear something about that in the coming weeks. But for right now, as far as Mr. Peyton Manning is concerned, good. They got it right. I've never thought of him to be a cheat whatsoever. I know certain athletes take certain PEDs, to recover from injuries and whatnot, but I'm just glad that whatever he took to recover from the neck injury in 2011, I'm just glad that it didn't, I'm glad it didn't implicate him in any way. So good for that. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Michael Fletcher in, get his thoughts on this. So Michael Fletcher, Peyton Manning cleared of HGH use. I'm not at all surprised by that. We never knew him to be a cheat anyway in all the years we've watched him. But what about the other players that I just mentioned?
Well, right now, I mean, as far as all the other players go, it's basically a wait and see, and we don't know the full story, so I'd rather not open that door. But for not talking with the NFL, that does not look good. For not participating in any of that stuff, that kind of does not look good at all for the players or the Players Association. But then again, the Players Association has pretty much had enough of the NFL and Roger Goodell, especially after the Deflategate. I think that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, and they want nothing to do with the National Football League until that next collective bargaining goes down. But for Peyton Manning, it was a witch hunt. Let's call it the way we see it. It was a witch hunt. Basically, Al Jazeera was looking for something to stick on Peyton Manning because remember, all this came out right around the time before the Super Bowl. So it was just something that kind of took a life of its own, and even the reporter itself was saying, well, was it reliable? Was it commendable? There was some drinks that were going on, and it was just a doctor or somebody who in the medical field like, hey, you want to hear a good story? Let me tell you something. And this Al Jazeera reporter bought it. And even they said that the guy himself is not a licensed doctor. He was probably an intern that only was there for a couple of weeks. So it wasn't like he was a big time medical physician in a world class hospital. So for something like that to break out, of course Peyton Manning was going to look for revenge. I mean, his name was being thrown through the mud, and it was one of those. It was shocking to me when I heard it. I was like, Peyton Manning did what? No, he could. No, something's not right. Something doesn't add up. Even my mother, and I don't talk about my family at all because they don't like to be mentioned on the show. And I'm gonna say it. She knows who Peyton Manning is, and she's like, Peyton Manning is one of the most stand-up and well-respected guys of the NFL. She's like, I'm not even a football fan, and I like him because of what he brings to the table. So I'm sorry. I thought this was an absolute witch hunt from jump, and that I'm glad that at the end of the day it worked out. I'm glad he was exonerated. His legacy is intact. Nothing bad's gonna happen to Peyton Manning. But like I said, as far as the other players go, it does not look good for them. For deliberately missing these interviews and everything else, it almost makes us think that maybe these guys might be guilty of something. Personal thought, just that only. Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, and all I can say is I'm just glad that Peyton Manning was cleared. I mean, I do agree. I mean, I think this was some kind of a witch hunt. I mean, I mean, Peyton Manning is one of the most respectable, uh, one of the most respectable men in the National Football League. I mean, look at everything he's accomplished in his career. I mean, 2 Super Bowl championships, and uh, and and that he was able to go out on top the way he did with that last Super Bowl championship. And I mean, and the career he's had is one of the best we'll ever see for any quarterback. I mean, starting with his career in Indianapolis, and then of course he had the neck problems that made him miss the 2011 season, and then he would go on to play with the Denver Broncos, and of course got him to a couple of Super Bowl appearances and won one of them. So yeah, I don't know with this Al Jazeera report with how they were trying to go after Peyton Manning, but I'm glad he was able to declare his name. His legacy will not be tarnished. And as far as those other players, like you said, it's a wait and see, but it doesn't look good. I mean, for them to basically ignore the league and not even like being able to talk to them, I think it sends maybe a red flag and like, all right, maybe they did do something. Or as you mentioned before, Fletch, maybe it's the players and the Players Association has had just about enough with Roger Goodell and the National Football League after the whole Deflategate crap that we had to go through, and look at what happened at the end. Tom Brady ended up dropping his appeal and serving the 4-game suspension. So maybe after all this, the players like, screw you, Roger Goodell. We don't want anything to do with you. We don't even want to talk to you after all this this drama you put us through. So, and some people say that they can't blame him, but either way, it does not look good. So that's pretty much all I can say on it. So I'm just gonna move on.
And we're going to move on to our next topic, and we're going to stay in the NFL. Josh Gordon. Of course, as you know, Josh Gordon, he's been reinstated by the NFL. That's the good news. But the bad news is he still has to serve a 4-game suspension. Michael Fletcher will start this off, but before I do, I just want to give you the schematics about it, just so we know what we have here. Bear with me for a moment. Josh Gordon found out, like most of the NFL world, that the Cleveland Browns wide receiver had been reinstated from his league-imposed suspension from the media. He received a heads-up phone call and then went online to verify that his indefinite suspension had been lifted a week ago. I was really excited, Gordon said on Thursday. I was definitely excited, man. I was tremendously happy for sure, elated. Gordon left it to Commissioner Roger Goodell to explain why he still faces a 4-game suspension to begin the season, but Gordon is focused on recovering from a quad injury and recovering his reputation tainted by numerous off-field issues. Training camp is an opportunity for Gordon to hit the reset button, Browns head coach Hugh Jackson said, accompanied at a press conference by team vice president Sashi Brown. Gordon could return in Week 5 against the New England Patriots. I truly believe he wants to make it right, Jackson said. I think if a player wants to change, you have to create an environment for him to change. It's about him. He has to do this. Gordon caught 137 passes for 2,461 yards and 14 touchdowns over his first 2 NFL seasons, but then began to run into issues with the league's substance abuse program. He played in 5 games in 2014, the last time he saw the field for a regular season NFL game. He was suspended all last season and has been seen several times hanging out with former Browns quarterback Johnny Manziel this offseason. It definitely can't be done here at the podium, Gordon said, proving he has matured, that's for sure. You know, nothing really gets done here, but out there on the field, I can do everything. I came here to do on the field and by my actions. Nothing that I say can do much to show you, but with the support that I have here, with Mr. Jimmy Haslam to the team, to the coaches, to the players here, they've shown me an extreme amount of support and love, and I can only do that by showing it back to them. Gordon said he injured his quad a few weeks ago while working out on his own, but he's excited to get back on the field and work with new Browns quarterback Robert Griffin III, whom Gordon said was the reason he landed at Baylor in 2009. That's one of my best friends, Gordon said. It's not a mistake that my locker is next to his. He looks out for me. That's part of my support staff that I was mentioning. Guys I know I can lean on and can count on. I know he's a big brother in that regard. As much as I need him, everybody else in this building needs him just as much. Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on Josh Gordon being reinstated by the NFL, but still having to serve that 4-game suspension?
Fair enough. I got no arguments there because Josh Gordon has been this guy is an unbelievable athlete, an unbelievable player, and could be one of the top wide receivers in the National Football League today. But what has undone him because of it is because he couldn't lay off the drugs. I want to say something else, but I'm not going to say it. But it's because of his repeated drug use is what's gotten him in trouble. The repeated drug use is what's gotten him suspended so many times. The guy is an unbelievable player and could be, like I said, he is in the same breath of a Calvin Johnson, a Julio Jones. He could be one of the elite wide receivers of the National Football League, but he just can't get away from the off-field issues. And it doesn't help that he's friends with Johnny Manziel either. I mean, that's another story for another day. But right now, I'm glad that Josh Gordon is back. I'm glad that he gets an opportunity, but because of what he did in the past, I don't have any problems with him have to sit out the first 4 games. I think it's fair even though I think a lot of Browns fans are like, that's a little bit unfair, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. Because, honestly, he needs to clean up his act. And I'm glad that maybe having Robert Griffin III there will be that key. Because he even said it. This was his brother. This was a guy that they've been together they were together at Baylor, and we saw how great they were. So hopefully this will be the moment where Josh Gordon wakes up, plays like he played back in those years where he was actually a 1,000-yard receiver, and if he can stay away from all the stupidity, then this guy's going to be fine. So, no, I got nothing bad to say about it. This is fair. I'm happy for him, but again, lay off the drugs. Drugs are bad, okay? Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, yeah. I'm fine with it as well. I do agree with Fletch. I mean, he still has to serve the 4-game suspension, and I mean, this guy is a dynamic player, but he needs to lay off the drugs, and I mean, that's what's basically been keeping him. I mean, getting him in trouble, and has been keeping him out of the league, and he needs to stay off it if it's going to turn his career around. And who knows, maybe being reunited with Robert Griffin III maybe could help him out, because, like you said, Robert Griffin III and Josh Gordon were teammates at Baylor, so that could definitely help him out. So yeah, so if Josh Gordon's gonna continue to be the dynamic player that he is, he needs to lay off the drugs. He really needs to, or it's really gonna get him into even more trouble. Or I hate to say this, it's gonna ruin his career. But there's another thing from this whole thing with this 4-game suspension. And Florio, I know I talked about this with you. I don't know if we did or not, but Josh Gordon, I mean, yeah, he's suspended for 4 games, but he's allowed to remain with the team even during that suspension.
Yes, we did talk about this.
Yeah, and
Bullock, Bullock and I talked about this. We had a boys' night out last night, and while we were waiting for the rest of our crew to arrive, we had a great night, by the way. What Bullock was getting into was that Josh Gordon, despite the fact that he's been suspended, is allowed to be with his team at this time, whereas Tom Brady, who's also serving a suspension, is not allowed to be with that team. What? That makes no sense at all. That's BS. Complete and utter BS.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you're telling me a guy who has been taking drugs, not only he's suspended 4 games, but he's allowed to remain with the team during the suspension, where Tom Brady, who's suspended the same amount of games for knowingly deflating footballs, is not only not allowed to be with the team, which is the right, but he can't even invite any of his teammates to his house for dinner or do anything. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, what the hell is the NFL doing? I got a big time problem with this. I mean, you rather have. Are you telling me you rather have a guy who's been taking drugs stick with the team even during a 4-game suspension, and to having someone like Tom Brady stay away from the facility? I smell a rat in this. And you want to know who that rat is? Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell, something is something's up here, and I do not like it. And this decision that he's made is stupid. It's idiotic. It's pointless, unnecessary, unacceptable, inexcusable, irresponsible, and borderline reprehensible. I mean, if Tom Brady can't have any contact with the team during his suspension, then Josh Gordon has to do the same thing. I mean, come on now. Ugh. This is another example of Roger Goodell with abuse of his power, and this is why Derek has said so many times he has got to go. He can't do anything right, and this is just another perfect example of it. So, yeah, way to go, Roger douchebag Goodell. So, you put the more in the moron and the whipped cream on the salad, and most importantly, Roger Goodell, you're an idiot! I'm done. I'm finished. Florio, please take it before I really explode.
Well, in the immortal words of Jesse the Body Ventura, well, a couple of things. One, it's a conspiracy. And two, this reeks of the word nitrosity. I mean, this is the epitome of the word nitrosity right here. I mean, how Josh Gordon can have contact with it, can still be with his team during his suspension, whereas Tom Brady can't. Gordon, has had numerous off-field issues, has also had, with drug issues and whatnot, and Tom Brady supposedly deflated a football, and yet he can't have any contact with his team. Yeah, that makes sense, right? No, it doesn't make sense. And let me just tell you this: to put the matter to bed, I am sick of Roger Goodell and his lame ass excuses, his phony baloney punishments. Some of them served its purpose, but honest to God, no, that's got to go. It's got to go. He's at the point of go away.
And he says, "Oh, it's about the integrity of the game." Baloney.
Simple as that.
Bull freaking baloney.
Yeah, and this goes to show you why he is far and away the worst commissioner out of any major sport. I never thought
he's making Gary Bettman look like the best commissioner out of all the professional sports, for goodness sakes, and we know what he's capable of.
Yes, and you know me. I've been very critical of Gary Bettman, and I went as far as to blame him for the incompetent referees, that cost my New York Rangers a couple of calls during the finals a couple of years ago. But we're not going to get into that. You already know that story by now. I'm not going to piss anybody off about that. But boy, oh boy. But yes, Goodell has got to go. It's as simple as that. And he's just like the authority. Best for. He does what he feels is best for business, and he doesn't care about us.
Yet the owners love him, and that's the worst thing. The owners actually will go to bat for Roger Goodell. Even though the fans may hate him, the players despise him, the owners respect him, and that's why Roger Goodell is where he is today. It's the same thing in hockey. The owners love Gary Bettman. As much as the players may despise him, as much as we may not like him, and trust me, there's a few of the guys that's got major bones to pick with Gary Bettman. You're not the only one, Florio. And for me, it's not because about the Rangers. What happened to the Rangers? All right, that was unfortunate. But for this guy to be one of the main responsibilities that we lost a Stanley Cup final and could not get a Stanley Cup champion that year, that's unforgivable in my eyes. Unforgivable in my eyes.
Of course. But
just like the same reason when it comes to Roger Goodell. I've lost a whole lot of respect for him, and it seems like he's got something against the New England Patriots.
Now, wait. Hold on. Wait a minute. No. I'm not gonna rant. You probably have a point. You definitely got a point. You definitely got a legitimate argument, Michael Bullock. However,
Sorry about the grunt. I mean, it's
no,
just,
it's warranted, most definitely. But it's to each his own. Maybe because the thing is that the Patriots. All right, how am I gonna say this without getting myself in trouble here? The Patriots brings an aura about them that makes us want to hate them.
Like the
Let's
authority.
say that.
Like the authority.
Yeah, like an authority. I'll go there. I'll say that, yes. Because the the thing is that they talk about this Patriot way. And, sometimes when you're the best team out there, there's that resentment. Nobody respects you because you're always at the top. And it's like that main event mafia type thing, or the authority. The Yankees gets that heat, and Florio knows about the Yankees because he is a New York Yankee guy. The people despise the New York Yankees. People actually despised the Chicago Bulls when they were winning all those championships. Is because whenever you're on top, people got that ill will resentment. Then on top of that, then you got the Spygate, which was, more or less them cheating over the fact that, the videotape and the whole 9 yards. And even though the Deflategate happened, even though it didn't look like it was such a big thing, it's because of the fact that the Patriots were technically repeat offenders, and I'm using it with air quotes. That's why they got nailed, and that's why everybody started flipping out over the Patriots. There was a lot of people that were saying that Super Bowl 49 championship should never have happened. That Super Bowl 49 championship should be taken off the books, put an asterisk on it, and the whole 9 yards. So I get it. Patriot fans got this ill will towards Roger Goodell because Goodell hammered the Patriots, then went on top of it and took out Tom Brady for 4 games. That was the biggest shocker of them all, is that they actually took out the golden boy of the NFL. That was like when Vince McMahon had no choice but to suspend Roman Reigns. Had no choice. Because if it wasn't for that, and plus, trust me, if anything, I think Goodell was going to give the Patriots a slap on the wrist. But do you know what type of junk storm that would have created if they would have actually done that?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Indeed. And Michael Fletcher makes a great point. He's absolutely right about that. Yeah, I mean, the New England Patriots do have that aura about them. I mean, like the Dallas Cowboys did, back in the 70s, which made, the Dallas Cowboys, all these other dynasty teams and everything else. I mean, the New England Patriots for so many years were underdogs for so many years, but they ain't underdogs anymore. They're a main event mafia caliber team. My Buffalo Bills, now they are underdogs. They epitomize the word underdog. Let's not kid ourselves. And Fletcher's Dolphins are right in the middle, whereas, Bullock's Patriots, like I said, main event mafia caliber team. And, they're always going to be in that main event as long as Tom Brady is around. But I think the reason why we were going off about the Brady thing was because, it was a year after it happened. And, why you're doing this now instead of, a year ago. That's why we're crying foul about it. But this is really not about Brady. This was supposed to be about Josh Gordon. That's what the topic was about. And about the Gordon thing. Well, he's had some noggin diva issues. He's had a lot of noggin diva problems, and especially the drugs and and everything else. And I think the reason why Bullock, was going off the way he was because of the fact that Brady, during his suspension, is not allowed to have any contact with the team whatsoever, whereas Gordon is allowed to have, contact with his team, during his suspension. So, but
And that's a very valid point that Bullock was bringing up, because if he's talking about the double standard
exactly.
theory, then there's no arguments. I mean, I'm even
That's why.
I'm even for that as well. There's no doubt about it. It sounds like to me the NFL is actually trying to stack the deck against the New England Patriots. Even though, and I'll even admit it, I'm not the biggest Patriot fan out there, and secretly, and I'll even admit this, even I would not mind to see the Patriots have to sweat it out a little bit. Feel what our teams have been feeling for a number of years.
Too many.
But yeah, so I get it. I get the argument. I get why Patriot fans are really ticked off, and they got a valid reasoning. And plus, for this so-called double standard that's going on, well, I gotta say I probably say, yeah, it is, because, with everything that has happened, no doubt.
Yeah, and I'd really like to put this matter to bed, because we got a lot of other things we have to get into. So, but nonetheless, Josh Gordon reinstated, and hopefully, it'll all work out, and it's going to make that Week 5 game, New England at Cleveland in Week 5, October the 9th. That's going to make that game an even bigger deal. I mean, it's one thing to have Gordon coming back from his suspension, but on top of that, you've also got Tom Brady coming back from his suspension. So who knows? That New England-Cleveland game in Week 5 could actually be one of the marquee games of the week, even though you think, oh, New England's going to squash them easily. Not so fast. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So, but nonetheless, we pretty much covered everything. You guys got into everything else, and hopefully there'll be no more rants tonight. I hate when we have to go on rants, but we only do it when we feel it's necessary. We just take injustice very seriously. That's all. Yes, Bullock.
Yeah, this is something that had to be addressed.
And I'm glad we did. I mean, that's our mission statement. That's our mission here on the show, to give you the absolute best and most in-depth of coverage you can get, and that's exactly what we have to do. So, but with that being said, let's move on to our next topic. We're gonna switch now to the NBA, and we got a couple stories from the NBA. The first one, first and foremost, that needs to be addressed, of course. The 2017 NBA All-Star Game originally was scheduled to take place on Sunday, February the 19th, 2017. I mean, that's still the date. Don't get me wrong. That's still going to be the day. It was originally scheduled to be at the Time Warner Cable Arena in Charlotte, the home of the Charlotte Hornets. They were awarded the All-Star Game in an announcement June 22nd of 2015. If the game had remained in Charlotte, it would have been the second time that Charlotte will have hosted the game. The other time was all the way back in 1991 at the now demolished Charlotte Coliseum. NBA is currently in the process of looking for a new host city to host the game, with New Orleans being reported as the current front runner after it was pulled out of Charlotte due to the controversy surrounding North Carolina's bathroom bill, better known as HB2. 2017 All-Star Game, here's a little fun fact, guys, is the first major sporting event in the United States to be relocated for political reasons since 1990. In that instance, I think they might have gotten the year wrong. It might have been 93 or something. In that instance, the NFL relocated Super Bowl 27 out of Tempe, Arizona, due to the state not recognizing Martin Luther King Jr. Day. HB2 became law in late March of this year. It bans, among other things, North Carolina city governments from passing ordinances that protect members of the LGBT community from discrimination. Charlotte already passed such an ordinance in February. However, when HB2 went into effect, it terminated said ordinance.
Charlotte, as a result, currently does not have any anti-discrimination protection in place. Talk about the NBA pulling the game from Charlotte began to rise. In the following days, Dallas and especially Atlanta both suggested they could host the All-Star game if the NBA removed it. Atlanta made their public suggestion to the NBA less than a week after HB2 passed, mentioning it had vetoed a similar bill and had success with hosting other major events of a similar size. In response, however, the NBA stuck with Charlotte for the meantime. On April 5th, NBA analyst and former player Charles Barkley voiced his support to move the All-Star game. He joined other newspaper journalists, including journalists from The Guardian and The Washington Post, who advised the NBA to do the same when HB2 was first announced. On April 10th, a group of 6 U.S. senators wrote to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver telling him to move the game due to HB2. Detroit Pistons head coach Stan Van Gundy also spoke out in favor of moving the game. NBA team owners were expected to have an update on the situation at the annual NBA Board of Governors meetings. 2 days later, an Oakland City Council member announced her intention for Oakland to host, again using HB2 as the primary reason for moving the game. During the Board of Governors meetings, the NBA announced they did not have any plans to remove the game from Charlotte and did not vote to do so. However, Silver said HB2 remained a problem and, according to an official press release, was also concerned about Charlotte's capability to host the game because of HB2. Silver next spoke about the issue on April 21 at the Associated Press Sports Editors Commissioner meetings and on ESPN's Mike and Mike in the Mornings radio show. During both appearances, he stated the NBA would rather work with the state and city governments to help change the law instead of issuing a definitive statement. However, he also made clear the game would move if HB2 was not changed. On June 2nd, Silver met with reporters to discuss the future of the All-Star game, stating the league was looking at alternatives. However, he went on to say it would not be productive to draw a line in the sand, and we'd be moving on if I didn't think there were certain constructive discussions going on in North Carolina right now. 6 days later, Barkley again spoke out on the subject, merely repeating his earlier message that the game should be moved. On July 12th, the Associated Press reported that several well-known technology companies had written a letter to Silver telling him to move the game using HB2 as their main reason for doing so. Silver gave an update later that day during a league conference in Las Vegas, again saying no vote had been taken on whether to move the game. However, he did say that the calendar is not our friend. Silver also said the final decision on the game's location would be made by summer's end. On July 21st, The Vertical reported that the 2017 NBA All-Star Game would be pulled from Charlotte, a search for a new host city was underway, and that New Orleans was the front runner to replace it. New Orleans previously hosted the All-Star Game in 2008 and 2014. The same day, the NBA confirmed these rumors to be true with a press release saying they hope to award Charlotte the game in 2019. So with all that being said, Michael Bullock, we started off with you. Your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, this is like a real crazy situation here. I mean, but this is something that had to be done. I mean, because with all the political issues going on with that you were talking about in Charlotte, so the NBA literally had no choice but to move the NBA All-Star Game to maybe New Orleans. So yeah, I mean, I know Charlotte was probably disappointed about this, but I mean, something had to be done. I mean, the NBA couldn't allow themselves to be part of this controversy. So yeah, so like I said, maybe Charlotte will get a chance in 2019 to host the NBA All-Star Game. I mean, will it actually happen? I mean, we'll definitely have to wait and see. But when it comes to this year's All-Star, this upcoming year's All-Star Game, I mean, like you said, New Orleans could be one of them, but I think they could be the favorite. But you never know; someone else could get it. But we'll definitely have to wait and see. So, I mean, that's all I can say on this situation. So, Fletch, I give it to you. I mean, Florio, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know me. If I'm going to be real honest with you guys, and you guys know me you guys have both known me for a long time, I'm not really into political mumbo jumbo. But in this case, I'm going to have to be. But here's the thing. In a way, they got it right. I mean, there's a lot of controversy right now, and I mean, with all the BS and injustice in this world, of course, you already know how I feel about that. I mean, this year alone, I mean, no calendar year has had more moments of injustice and BS in the world. You already know all the nonsense that's going on in the world this year, mainly in the southernmost area of our nation. But I mean, they had no choice. I mean, because we know how much of an issue this is. This whole Target bathroom controversy, this whole transgender controversy. I mean, that's the reason for it, and they had to. I feel bad for Charlotte. I mean, it's a great city. I mean, that's a nice facility they have there. The Time Warner Cable Arena. Formerly the Bobcats, and then the returning Hornets, and I mean, it it's a sad situation, but New Orleans, I guess it's going to be New Orleans. My guess is New Orleans is probably going to end up getting the game. Considering that they like to put them in the bigger venues nowadays, I wouldn't be surprised if that game ends up being in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, for goodness sakes. And they probably do All-Star Saturday Night at the much smaller Smoothie King Arena. But I basically went down all the schematics here, a lot of meetings, and if Charles Barkley is even saying move the game, you should take that very seriously. And the whole HB2 controversy, they had to do it, and it's a damn shame. I know North Carolina doesn't really have much of anything to do with that, but I mean, this whole thing just started back in March, and I just feel bad for Charlotte. But they did say that they're hopeful of getting the game in a couple years, so I'm praying that they do. I mean, they've only had it once. You're what I said, all the way back in '91. That's the last time they had it. That was at the old Charlotte Coliseum, which is since no more. I mean, the only thing I remember from that '91 weekend was Dee Brown winning the slam dunk contest for the Celtics. But nonetheless, New Orleans just had the game 3 years ago. I mean, apparently it looks like they're going to get it. I mean, nothing against New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans has had some issues of their own. I mean, Katrina, anyone? I mean, we all remember what happened with Katrina, and that city has, over the last decade, I mean, that city has gotten so much better, and it's had so many memorable moments, from the Saints, and of course WrestleMania 30, the Miracle on Bourbon Street, yada yada. So, yeah, so I pretty much gave you the schematics about it, and it's one of those. To be quite honest, it's wrong, but they had to do it anyway. So that's how I feel about it. I think it's wrong, honestly, that they had to do it, but that's just, it is what it is. So it's wrong, but they had to do it anyway. It's one of those instances. We've all had instances in our life where we've done things that were wrong, but we knew they were wrong, but we did it anyway, and we didn't care. We didn't care about any backlash or heat that we could get, but bottom line is, folks, it was wrong, but they had to do it anyway. Sorry. Fletch, it's yours.
I'm more of the political guy here of the crew, and I've been very vocal about this as well. But the NBA is doing, and they're following a statute that everybody else has been following. A lot of celebrities have canceled their concerts in Charlotte, North Carolina because of this. A lot of the musicians has canceled their concerts in Charlotte, North Carolina because of this transgender bathroom issue. but it is unfair. I mean, in this day and age, we're supposed to love people. We're supposed to, I, I don't know what, I think, let me try to go in a way that I know Anthony is going to smile at. You know, we're God's children. And, you know, supposedly he's loved all of us. He never discriminated against the way we are, what we look like, our creed, our bodies, what we are. We're just men and women just trying to make a life, trying to make a difference in the world. And what this law does is probably one of the most hurtful, vile, and most disgusting bills I've ever seen in my life. To basically discriminate against the LBGT community by especially the transgendered. You know, people who were men, now they're women, or women that want to become men, and to say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. You got to be in this separate bathroom. That's unfair. And I think it almost is as disgusting as, now I'm going to go a little bit far back to like the 1960s and the racism against African Americans. And then if you really want to go all the way back to the days of the colonials, of the discrimination and the disgustingness that some of the colony and pioneers of our country did to the Native Americans. I'll be upfront about it. So what the NBA did was show their stance, and it's like, look, we're not gonna condone this type of discrimination against anybody. And I applaud Adam Silver for making this decision, coming around and making this decision by removing the All-Star game out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'll even go one step further. We've been saying how bad of commissioners we had from Gary Bettman and Roger Goodell. I'm actually going to say right here, right now, that Adam Silver has been by far the best commissioner of all of the major sports. Hands down, no arguments. From the way that he banned Donald Sterling for life because of racist comments that he made, that was caught on a videotape, and he did the unbelievable thing by saying that he was banned for life, that he was never allowed back on the NBA property, and the whole 9 yards. Come in. And I truly believe that was the right thing to do. Just like he's doing with Charlotte, North Carolina, he's done the right thing. To pull the All-Star game out of Charlotte is not only necessary, but it was the right thing to do. Discrimination of any creed or anything should not be condoned in the United States of America. Hands down, no question. What Adam Silver has done has put something into the forefront, and to me, he should be commended. I tip my cap to you, Mr. Silver. You've done the right thing, and there's no argument from this panelist. Let's move on, gentlemen.
Yes, indeed, and you couldn't have said that any better, Michael Fletcher. I mean, well done indeed. Yes, we are all of us are indeed God's children. You're absolutely right about that. And I mean, if you had said what you had just said in front of my church family and friends, they would be praising you for that. Trust me, they would be giving you a standing O, just like they do with me when I share my special weekly words with them. But nonetheless, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, you're absolutely right. Adam Silver, far and away, the best commissioner of the four major sports. I mean, Manfred is right there with him, but I gotta say right now, Silver is a little bit ahead of Manfred. Whereas you got those two half-asses in Bettman and Goodell.
Well, I'm still. The jury's out to lunch on Manfred because he's too new. Silver has made two major impacts right out of the jump. I mean, it's like he is definitely cleaning up the mess that
David Stern left.
David Stern left, and what he has done is done such a commendable job. Even though I know the fans like to boo the commissioners, you can't really boo Adam Silver. Even though it'd be easy for us to boo him, because, you know, he's the commissioner, and technically the fans are not supposed to like the commissioner, but he's done such a good job that it's almost like I can't boo the guy. I can't.
I can't either. I mean, we're Chicago Bulls fans. You know, we're suffering Bulls fans for so many years, but still, I mean, you know, he's done a commendable job. Like you said, the whole Sterling situation. I mean, he did that. I mean, wow. So we could go on and on about this all day and night, but, you know, like I said, we got a lot more things to get into. So with that being said, let's move on, and we're gonna stick to the NBA. Originally, we didn't have this in the docket, but this was added to the docket last second, and as well as it should be. We're staying in the NBA. Tyronn Lue has been extended by the NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers, and rightfully so. Here's the schematic on that. The Cleveland Cavaliers and coach Tyronn Lue have reached an agreement on a 5-year contract extension. The team announced the contract Tuesday, referring to the deal as a multi-year agreement. But sources told ESPN that it is a 5-year extension with the first 4 years fully guaranteed, 5th year is a team option. According to the vertical, the deal is worth $35 million. Lue did not sign a new contract when he was promoted from associate head coach to take over for David Blatt, who was fired in January, sources previously told ESPN. Lue led Cleveland to a 27-14 record in the second half of the season and through the playoffs to the NBA championship. Ty took over our team under very trying circumstances, and his calm, confident approach was invaluable as we found our way to success, General Manager David Griffin said in a statement. His vision, leadership, and tactical acumen were fundamental to us reaching our goals. We couldn't be happier to have Ty continue to lead our group into the future. Lue was already the league's top-paid assistant coach when he was added to Blatt's staff in the summer of 2014, with a 4-year deal worth a total of $6.5 million. The opportunity to continue coaching the Cavaliers and this very special group of players is tremendous, Lue said in the statement. Absolutely necessary. Well, that's the end of the statement right there. I'm going to start this off, and what else is there to say except they absolutely, positively did the right thing. I mean, as Deion Sanders always likes to say on NFL Network, pay the man. Well, they paid the man. Indeed, they paid the man, and he deserved to be paid, and look what happened. I mean, here's a guy who needs to be commended. He really needs to be commended. Here's a guy who had to take over in a rather difficult situation. I mean, they fired David Blatt in January, despite the fact that the team had the Eastern Conference's best record. I believe it was at 30-11, and then they let him go for what reason I don't know. I think it was because of player backlash or whatever. Tyronn Lue took over, and they went 27-14 after that. Finished 57-25, which was still good enough to be the best mark in the East. And then they have easy series against who was it? Detroit, I believe, and Atlanta in the first couple of rounds. They got tested a bit by Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then, of course, made history in the NBA Finals by becoming the first team in history to come back from a 3-1 deficit to win the series, including that memorable Game 7 for the ages, which more than deservedly so which more than deserved to win the ESPY award for Game of the Year. I mean, that was definitely the game of the year. I mean, it had stiff competition, of course, that NFC divisional playoff game with Green Bay and Arizona, and of course the national championship game in the college hoops with Villanova and North Carolina, which had a finish for the ages in Houston, and the three of us called that the greatest national title game of all time. But nonetheless, Lou signing that, getting extended, more than the right thing. The Cleveland Cavaliers, and specifically LeBron James. I mean, they became America's darlings. They became America's team, because of this. And I mean, look what happened. I mean, if it wasn't for the great coaching of Tyronn Lue and the stellar play of LeBron in the final 3 games of that series, 5, 6, and 7, the city of Cleveland would still be looking for a championship. But thanks to that, the city of Cleveland ended a near 52-year championship drought since the Brownies won the old NFL championship. New Year's Eve, 1964, when they holiday hand the then Baltimore Colts. But Cleveland finally got its championship. The Cavaliers, winning the NBA championship and, preventing a record-setting season for the Golden State Warriors. And I'll tell you what, Tyronn Lue did a commendable job of, he did a commendable job handling a very difficult situation. It's never easy to have to take over after the previous head coach was fired for a situation like that. So I commend the Cleveland Cavaliers. They did the right thing. They brought him back, and now 5 years now, and who knows? Could it lead to more championships down the road? It very well could. I hope it does, because that's a great young team that got there. I believe LeBron's coming back and the whole 9 yards. So they did some great things. So that's all I can say about it. So I gave you all the schematics. So Michael Fletcher, Mr. NBA, I bring you in. Tyronn Lue getting extended by the Cleveland Cavaliers, without question, the right thing to do, especially after what they did, that unforgettable Game 7, a game that you said was the greatest Game 7 of an NBA Finals you ever saw. Am I right or am I right?
It goes down as the greatest Game 7 I've ever saw, and Tyronn Lue has done a tremendous job. A lot of people thought that it was a mistake for him to be a part of the Cleveland Cavaliers after they fired David Blatt so abruptly and without reasoning, but let me tell you, it turned around and it made everybody look like a bunch of geniuses. So no, it was a tremendous job that he's done. They were able to get the job done and do what they got to do. And what did they do? They reward him. The brother's getting paid, and he deserves to get paid the money that he gets. So no arguments here. Congratulations, Tyronn Lue. Well done, my friend. I cannot wait to see what happens next for your career, man. I wish you nothing but the best. You got a great team. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I think it was the correct move here for the Cavs to pay the guy and give him that 5-year deal, and it was certainly worth it. I mean, he led the Cavaliers to their first NBA championship in franchise history, and beating the Golden State Warriors. Of course, coming back to win the series and excuse me. Yeah, I mean, because he was brought in halfway through the year to replace David Blatt for reasons that we can't get into. And they still had the best record in the NBA at the time. And people were wondering, okay, what the heck is going on here? So they brought in Tyronn Lue, and I think they actually were better when Tyronn Lue became the coach. And I mean, everybody bought into his system. LeBron James did. and everybody else, like J.R. Smith, for that matter. So, yeah, so congratulations to Tyronn Lue. It's something definitely worth deserving. So, yeah, so can he lead the Cavs to maybe more NBA championships somewhere down the road, especially with the team they have? Well, we'll just wait and see. So, but like I said, congratulations to Tyronn Lue. So, with that being said, let's move on, Florio.
Yes, and we're going to move on to our next topic, which is, and we're going to move now to Major League Baseball. And, well, the first of two Major League Baseball instances, of course, the other being our power rankings at the end, which I'm hopeful will be just as controversial as last week. I mean, it leads to ratings, people. A big trade went down this past week, whereas it was Aroldis Chapman. Aroldis Chapman was traded to the Chicago Cubs from my New York Yankees. I mean, let's give you the schematics on this. I mean, we all know the Yankees are, as I wait for my note, wait for my notes to load up here. All right. The Chicago Cubs have added Aroldis Chapman for their push to the World Series, acquiring the flame-throwing closer in a blockbuster trade with the New York Yankees. The teams announced the trade Monday, saying that Chapman is expected to join the NL leading Cubs for their game Tuesday. I'm pretty sure he did, against the crosstown rival Chicago White Sox. The Yankees received a 4-player package headlined by top shortstop prospect Gleyber Torres in exchange for Chapman, who was suspended for the first 29 games of this season under baseball's domestic violence policy. Obviously, we are aware of the circumstances surrounding Aroldis Chapman's suspension. Earlier this season, Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts said in a statement, "We are also aware that he cooperated fully with the league investigation and takes responsibility for his actions. Chapman was involved in an October incident when he allegedly choked his girlfriend, but police did not file charges against the Cuban-born left-hander, citing insufficient evidence, conflicting stories, and uncooperative witnesses." Major League Baseball announced Chapman's suspension in early March, 2 months after the Yankees traded 4 minor leaguers to the Cincinnati Reds for the All-Star closer. "I want to thank the New York Yankees for trusting and supporting me, and I wish nothing but the best for the Yankees organization and my former teammates," Chapman said in a statement. Now the 5-time All-Star is headed to Chicago, where he figures to bolster a struggling bullpen and strengthen the Cubs' pursuit of their first World Series championship since 1908. "I am excited about today's trade and look forward to joining the Chicago Cubs and meeting my new teammates," he said. "It is a privilege to wear the Cubs uniform and to play for the fans of Chicago." Hector Rondon has a 1.95 ERA and 18 saves this season as Chicago's closer, but the rest of the Cubs' bullpen has been spotty. The Cubs had a combined ERA of 3.83, ranking 7th in the National League entering Monday, when the bullpen gave up a game-winning hit to White Sox shortstop Tyler Saladino in the bottom of the 9th inning of a 5-4 loss. The Cubs paid a steep price parting with Torres, versatile pitcher Adam Warren, and minor league outfielders Billy McKinney and Rashad Crawford. But there is no doubting the talent of the 28-year-old Chapman, who went 3-0 with a 2.01 ERA and 20 saves in 31 games with New York. He threw a 105.1 mile-an-hour fastball to Baltimore's J.J. Hardy last Monday night, matching the fastest since MLB began tracking speeds in 2008. With lefty batting sluggers Bryce Harper of Washington and Brandon Belt of San Francisco possibly looming in the playoffs, the addition of Chapman gives Cubs manager Joe Maddon one of the major's top assets when in need of a late strikeout. Today, prior to completing the trade, Theo, Jed, and I spoke with Aroldis, Ricketts said. "I share with him the high expectations we set for our players and staff, both on and off the field. Aroldis indicated he is comfortable with meeting those expectations. Finally, my family, this team, and Major League Baseball take the issue of domestic violence very seriously and support efforts to reduce domestic violence through education, awareness, and intervention." Chapman told police in October that he poked the woman on the shoulder and she fell to the ground. According to the police report, after family members broke up the altercation, Chapman said he went into his car, punched the passenger side window, and suffered a laceration on his finger. He also acknowledged firing 8 shots from a handgun in his garage during the incident. "I regret that I did not exercise better judgment, and for that I am truly sorry," Chapman said in Monday's statement. "Looking back, I feel I have learned from this matter and have grown as a person. My girlfriend and I have worked hard to strengthen our relationship, to raise our daughter together, and would appreciate the opportunity to move forward without revisiting an event we consider part of our past. Chapman saved 146 games with a 2.17 ERA in 6 years with the Cincinnati Reds before he was traded to the New York Yankees last December after a deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers fell through amid reports of the domestic violence incident. New York had won 6 of 8 games heading into Monday night's game at Houston, but still faces long odds of getting to the playoffs. All-stars Andrew Miller and Dellin Betances are still at the back of the bullpen, allowing the Yankees to trade Chapman now and still consider trying for the postseason, depending on how they fare ahead of the August 1st non-waiver trade deadline. This isn't a white flag, Yankees GM Brian Cashman said. It is a rearrangement. If New York slips back any further, it could engage in a rare sell-off of the franchise. Miller, who was signed through 2018, also could be traded. Outfielder Carlos Beltran, first baseman Mark Teixeira, and pitcher Ivan Nova are eligible for free agency after the season and could be sought by contenders. Chapman quickly turned into one of baseball's most dominant relievers when he broke into the majors in 2010 with Cincinnati. He threw the 62 fastest pitches in the major leagues last season, ranging from 103.92 to 102.36. Torres is a 19-year-old at Class A, is the centerpiece of the deal for the Yankees. He is the Cubs' top-ranked prospect and number 26 in baseball, according to ESPN insider Keith Law. Torres was scratched about 20 minutes before first pitch Sunday afternoon. Chicago originally acquired Warren in an earlier trade with the Yankees that sent Starlin Castro to New York. The right-hander went 3-2 with a 5.91 ERA in 29 games this season with the Cubs. McKinney is 21. McKinney, age 21, is at Double-A. He was part of the 2014 trade that brought Addison Russell to Chicago from Oakland. So there's all your schematics right there. So Michael Fletcher, I believe you start this off. So yeah, it's you who starts this one off. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be sure on that. So because I'm trying to think.
Because I think you started the last one, which was about what?
Teron Lou. Yeah,
well, about
Teron.
the Teron Lou. So you started it,
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's right.
handed it off to me. So yeah. So I start.
All right. Yeah, it is you who started. So so your thoughts on Aroldis Chapman going from the Yankees to the Cubs? Does this help the Cubs in pursuit, who are pursuing, as you know, who right now stand a very good chance of, possibly contending for their first World Series title in 108 years?
Well, I'll say this. It definitely solidifies the back end of the bullpen. Basically, you got yourself your closer. Now, to get to Chapman, you might need to do some extra help. But at least pitching-wise, you got some quality starters. The middle relief is where you got the biggest problems. You got to shore that up a little bit. But now you got nobody to worry about. If you got the lead going into the 9th inning, forget it. You got Aroldis Chapman. He will slam the door and give you the W. So, I mean, this was necessary. You needed to make a big move because you guys were starting to slip a little bit. You had that big lead, and then all of a sudden, I'll even admit it, St. Louis is starting to creep up a little bit. But now they got this big pitcher with a cannon of an arm, and it's worked lately. They've won 3 in a row, and I'll tell you, that's gonna look very, very nice in the power rankings tonight, to say the very least. So no doubt about it, they've looked very good, very sharp lately. I got nothing bad to say about them. So with that said, no, this was a necessary move. You had to get this move done. They did it. Great for them. Well done. Congratulations. Nothing else to say. Mike Bullock is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I like this trade too. I mean, the Cubs really needed some help in the bullpen. I mean, yeah, Rondon has been good as the closer, but everybody else has been so-so, especially Pedro Strop. So yeah, I mean, now you really have a true ninth inning closer where he can go to, and of course, not bad when you got somebody that throws 105 miles an hour. So yeah, I mean, they really needed that help in the bullpen. I mean, because they really, excuse me, they really need it down the stretch, especially if they want to be in pursuit of that first World Series title in quite a long time. So, yeah, so now the question is, will they make any more moves before the trade deadline? We're definitely going to have to wait and find out, but like this move here. So, Florio, your thoughts on this move?
I'll be honest, as a Yankee fan, I hate it. But as a fan of baseball in general, I love it for the Cubs especially. I mean, yeah, I mean, Aroldis Chapman could have been the best closer that team had since a guy that wore number 42, and it will very likely go down as the greatest closer of all time, looking at you, Mariano Rivera. But I mean, I saw this. I didn't see this coming. I really did not. I mean, but it does help the Cubs. I mean, even though Rondon has done, he's done a decent job this year so far. Now you've got a flamethrower coming in. He's going to be the closer now. I expect Rondon to probably be the second to last guy. I expect him to be the eighth inning guy, and then you can bring in Chapman for the ninth if all is well. And you got a solid starting rotation, headlined of course by Arrieta, your reigning Cy Young Award winner, and the Yanks are getting some good prospects, especially that Torres kid. I've heard a lot of great things about him. I think he can definitely, provide the Yanks a boost when they're ready to call him up. But let me just say this: I mean, Chicago Cubs have not won a World Series in 108 years. That's the longest drought of any team in any sport. I mean, of course, Bullock's Red Sox have the shortest drought. It's only been 3 years since their last title. For my Yanks, it's been 7, whereas for Fletcher, it's been 21. I know Fletcher's saying that it should have been a lot less than that, but it is what it is. But but that's nothing compared to what poor Matt Ward has had to go through. Since probably since his grandparents and great grandparents. That's the last time his beloved Cubs won a World Series, 1908. I mean, 108 years, and you bring Chapman in, and it's definitely going to bolster that bullpen, and especially that closer role. I mean, I honestly can't remember the last time the Cubs had a dominant closer. I mean, it's been a long time, probably since the late great Rod Beck. I mean, I remember Rod Beck was in a Cubby uniform for a while, but nonetheless, though, that's going to help the Cubs both. It's going to help the Cubs bullpen very much, especially now that they have a certified closer. And I mean, the Cubbies will definitely make it to the postseason. They're definitely in prime position. After all, they do have, as of right now, they do have the best record in all of Major League Baseball right now at 62-40. They've currently won 3 in a row, and I'll tell you right now, they're definitely going to be in the top 3 when it comes to my power rankings later on when we get to that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I got a feeling that we're gonna have another controversial power rankings, to say the very least, and that's all I can say about that. So batten down the hatches when it comes to the power rankings later on. But I as a fan of baseball in general, I love this move for the Cubs, but as a Yankee fan, I loathe and detest it because, like I said, he could have been the best closer for the Yanks since Rivera. But they do have a solid closer anyway, Andrew Miller. Miller's no slouch either. I mean, Miller can get some saves. He's now back to being the major closer, and Betances will be, the 8th inning guy. So that's all I can say about that. So now we're going to move on now to, a very big story in the world of college sports. And, we got 2 big college stories. And the first one we're going to get into is the Big 12. The Big 12 it's going to supposedly make an announcement. It's planning on expanding teams before the start of this upcoming football season. So here's the let me get the schematic for that. And Michael Bullock's going to lead it off, but I will. Let me give you the schematic first, and then we'll have Bullock start it off here. The Big 12 would prefer to wrap up the expansion process before the start of the 2016 football season. 3 persons with knowledge of the ongoing process told CBS Sports on Thursday. While it's not clear whether a final decision on timing has been made, all 3 sources said the Big 12. Excuse me 1 second. We got a pop-up here. Just give me 1 second. Actually, I got a double pop-up. Just give me just give me a few seconds here. So I have to let it count down.
Control. Keegan Bradley has them on the course.
All right, just give me 1 second. Okay, I do apologize for that. The Big 12 would prefer to wrap up the expansion process before the start of the 2016 football season. 3 persons with knowledge of the ongoing process told CBS Sports on Thursday. While it's not clear whether a final decision on timing has been made, all 3 sources said the Big 12 doesn't want expansion to overshadow the league's football season with a drawn-out process that would extend into the 2016 campaign. The Big 12 season kicks off September 2nd when Baylor hosts Northwestern State and Kansas State travels to Stanford. The league announced on July 19th it would begin a formal expansion process to add 2 or 4 teams. Since then, several schools have publicly said they have contacted the Big 12 about their interest. When contacted on Thursday, Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby told CBS Sports, "I have not made any comment on time frame and do not plan any such statement. If the expansion teams are indeed announced before the season, that conceivably would give the new schools a chance to begin playing in the conference in 2017. For now, the league is in the process of contemplating how it will decide participants for its championship game that has been reinstated for the 2017 season. Bowlesby has said the most likely scenario has 2 division winners meeting for the league title. It's not clear if Bowlesby or other conference officials will make official site visits to expansion candidates. Some presidents on the conference's composition committee have previously visited campuses. The next key event to watch is the American Athletic Conference Media Days, set for next Monday and Tuesday in Newport, Rhode Island. 10 of the league's 12 schools have been at least casually mentioned in some form or another as Big 12 expansion candidates. The most commonly mentioned expansion schools include BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, Memphis, UConn, UCF, Colorado State, South Florida, and Boise State. Michael Bullock, how do you follow that? What are your thoughts on this supposed expansion of the Big 12?
Hold on just a minute. When it comes to this expansion of the Big 12, I mean, I would love to see it happen. I mean, because ever since the Big 12 conference lost some teams, I mean, we lost the Big 12 championship game, and we all know how good some of those games were. The question is, who's going to make the jump to the Big 12? That's the thing that's I like to know. I mean, it's definitely something that I definitely want to see happen. I mean, but we'll wait and see. I mean, will they get it done in time for the start of the 2016 college football season? I'd love to see it. Will it happen? I doubt it. I think, to me, I'll be quite honest, I think the better chance of it happening would be when it comes to the 2017 college football season. So, but you never know. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I definitely want to see it happen. So, Colette, your thoughts on the Big 12 expansion?
Well, if you remember, there was a time where a lot of teams were really being traded away or becoming super conferences, and here we go again. The Big 12 is deciding, you know what, we want to dip into the pool again because they want that playoff, more money in the the pockets of the boosters and the universities, and of course for their athletic committees as well. So I don't see any problem with it. It's just if you're going Big 12, I mean, I think go after teams like SMU, go after a team like Houston. Keep it in that so-called Midwest area. And make it logical, make it sense. The ACC was always about that southern belt, which is the North Carolina, Florida, in that area. When they dipped up and went after Boston College, that's when I kind of was like, Boston College is not an ACC school. That's more of a Big East school. But we'll wait and see what happens. But I do like that they want to expand it. That means more competitive teams, more competitive matchups. We'll wait and see what happens, and maybe a birth of some good rivalries. Who knows? We'll wait and see what happens. But until then, Anthony, it is yours.
Yeah, Bullock was supposed to give it back to me, but that's okay. But nonetheless, I like this Big 12 expansion as well. I mean, it's definitely going to help matters. And what I really like is the fact that in 2017, they're bringing back the Big 12 championship game. They never should have gotten rid of it in the first place. I'm sorry. They should have kept that thing intact. You've heard of the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, well, they had to go and fix it. But I'm glad that we're going to have a Big 12 championship game again starting in 2017. I'm looking forward to that. And that's definitely going to help. It'll definitely help make easier the process for the College Football Playoff Committee. But yeah, apparently we could have ourselves a bit of a merger with the Big 12 and the American Athletic Conference. A lot of those teams I mentioned, that's almost practically almost the entire conference, basically. I mean, looking at the most commonly expressed names here, the schools that strike me that I think would suit the Big 12, BYU. I think that they would make a great Big 12 school. Houston, most definitely. Cincinnati. Cincinnati, to me, I think could be in the AAU. Big Ten, I think would be more suitable for them. Memphis, yeah, I think Memphis could definitely make a good Big 12 school, most definitely. UConn doesn't strike me as a Big 12. I think they're fine where they are in the AAU. You could also make an argument for Big East as well. UCF, Central Florida. I think they're fine where they are in the AAU. Colorado State, Big 12, I suppose, but I'm not really sure. South Florida, not sure. And then Boise, if Boise goes to the Big 12, they're going to get slaughtered down there. And we're not going to be crazy for Boise anymore. But that's just some of my thoughts. I mean, like I said in the schematic, the next key event to watch is the American Athletic Conference Media Days that are going to be going down on Monday and Tuesday here in our neck of the woods, guys, of Newport. So we're going to have to wait and see about that. But definitely an interesting move, to say the very least. Like Fletcher said, more competitive matchups in the future. I'm all for that. We're all for that. So we'll see what happens. But to me, the one thing that came out of this that I like personally, 2017, the return of the Big 12 championship game. I love that, and that will most definitely help. It'll definitely make the lives of those on the committee of the college football playoff, those lives will be made a lot easier, because the outcome of that game could definitely help determine which 4 teams we could see in the playoff in near future. So with that being said, let's move on to our other big story. And this is a story that
Well, what else is there to say except this is what I consider a praise God situation. To the delight of all of us, and including Derek Ferrera. Ho ho. Guess what's coming back in 2018, boys? The renewal of the Michigan-Notre Dame football rivalry. We thought it was dead. No.
Yes!
It's
Yes!
coming back, boys.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
How about it?
Yes! Yes!
Oh, yes.
Yes! Let's do it, baby! I cannot wait!
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, just give me a minute here. Pop-ups galore. All right, here we go. Here's the schematic that we need to know from it. And it's me who's going to be leading this off. It's only fitting. The new football home-and-home matchup between Michigan and Notre Dame comes with a much smaller buyout than the deal which fell victim to it. If Michigan or Notre Dame should decide to back out of one or both games, not exactly an unheard of event at this point, the school that cancels will have to pay the other $150,000 if it's done 2 years out, $500,000 if done between 1 to 2 years out, and $1 million if it's done 1 year out. The contract, obtained Friday by MLive via a Freedom of Information Act request, also allows Notre Dame to cancel the series with no buyout if the school enters into a deal requiring it to pay more than 5 games as part of a conference season. Notre Dame is currently contracted to play 5 ACC games per season. As part of the new agreement between Michigan and Notre Dame, the Wolverines will play in South Bend on September 1st, 2018, and host the Fighting Irish at Michigan Stadium on October 26, 2019. To make way for the series, Michigan had to cancel a 2018... listen to this, guys. To make way for the series, Michigan had to cancel a 2018-2019 home and home with State of Sorrel's Arkansas Razorbacks. According to that contract, a cancellation fee of $2 million must be paid to Arkansas by Michigan within 10 days after the scheduled game's dates. The first game between UM and Arkansas was scheduled for September 1st, 2018. The agreement between Michigan and Arkansas also called for the home team to pay the visiting team $400,000 for each game. No such stipulation exists in the Michigan-Notre Dame deal. The Wolverines and Irish last met on September 6, 2014, resulting in a 31-0 win for Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium. That final date came after Notre Dame athletic director Jack Swarbrick opted out of a contract dated to run through 2031 before the 2012 game at Notre Dame Stadium. The relationship between the two then deteriorated as Swarbrick and former Michigan athletic director Dave Brandon threw public verbal jabs over the specifics. At the root of Notre Dame's decision to back off was a schedule crowded by the addition of 5 ACC games per year, a mandate of the school's migration into the league in all non-football sports in 2012. Since that series dissolved, Michigan replaced Brandon as athletic director, bringing in interim athletic director Jim Hackett to bridge the gap to Ward Manuel, the Wolverines' now permanent AD. The new contract signed by Manuel and Swarbrick is dated July 7, 2016. As part of the agreement, the Big Ten will appoint officials for Michigan's home game, while an athletic conference designated by Notre Dame will appoint officials for the game in South Bend. Michigan leads the all-time series against Notre Dame 24-17 with a tie. So that's that. We've had to talk about a lot of serious, hard times stories on this edition of Strictly Sports tonight, for the most part. But all I could say is we could not be any more delighted. I mean, I know I speak on behalf of all of us here. I'm a Notre Dame football fan. Derek Ferrera is a Notre Dame football fan. Whereas Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock are both Michigan Wolverine football fans. After
the game 2 years ago at Notre Dame Stadium when Notre Dame holiday hammed Michigan 31-0. We thought it was the end of the road. But I got wind of a dirt sheet article. I posted it on my Facebook for you guys. I found that about a week or two ago. And when I saw that Notre Dame and Michigan were going to renew their football rivalry in a couple of years, it was like, I mean, my eyes, I mean, my face, my eyes just lit up. I could not have been any more happier to read that. I mean, to know that we're going to have a Strictly Sports Buddy Bowl renewed in a couple of years, September the 1st of 2018, when Michigan and Notre Dame meet again at Notre Dame Stadium, and then again on October 26th of 2019 in the Big House. It's as simple as this. At least one or both of those games should be in prime time under the lights, because that's a prime time rivalry. Michigan and Notre Dame is one of the greatest rivalries in college football, and I could not have been any more delighted to have it renewed. I mean, I look forward to all Notre Dame games, yes, even the ones against the dud enhancement teams. But the one game that I always looked forward to was the Michigan game. And that was also one that I personally wanted as a W. The other, of course, being USC. That's the one. I mean, the USC game is my Christmas and my Easter, to be honest with you. But what else is there to say? I mean, Michigan and Notre Dame have had some great games over the years. Most of them were in prime time on national television. And I'm hopeful that, let me just say it like this. You want a Cowboys Classic? 2018, that game should be the Cowboys Classic, if I'm going to be real honest with you. Put that sucker in Jerry World. But then again, you really can't. Because I think the game's supposed to be at Notre Dame Stadium. But I wish they would. I mean, I wish that this would be a Shamrock Series game for Notre Dame, and put it in one of those big venues like a Cowboys Stadium and some others. But I don't know what else there is to say. I'm so excited. I mean, it brings a tear of joy to my eye knowing that we're gonna. I mean, a football rivalry that we thought was dead, and we thought was dead and buried, is coming back in a couple of years. Me and Derek Ferreira against Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. 2 years from now, boys, the rivalry begins again. I could not be any more delighted. I don't know if Michael Fletcher's back. He had to step away. I don't know if he's back in yet. But
I'm good. I'm ready.
Are you ready to go? All right.
I'm good.
Notre Dame and Michigan, the Strictly Sports Buddy Bowl is back on, effective September 1st, 2018. I know. I already said, I spoke on behalf of all of us, that we couldn't be any more delighted. How delighted are you knowing that this Strictly Sports Buddy Bowl that we thought was dead and buried 2 years ago is coming back in 2 years? Wow.
I'm excited. I'm thrilled. And I'm so happy that we finally got this one in the books, and let's go. I mean, a lot of people were a little upset when this rivalry kind of ended, but, you know, though I say it's a good time for those who can wait, because, oh my goodness, what a battle this is going to be. What fun we just got, and what a great early Christmas gift for me, Anthony, and the boys. I mean, I can't say anything better than that. I'm so happy that it's going to happen and we're going to get it, and wow, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great time it's going to be a great time for a college football fan, and this is without a doubt one of the biggest rivalries in the national football, in college football, I should say, and because that's the way that it's meant to be. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I cannot wait. I'm through the moon. Through the moon is the key word about it, because it's happening. a rivalry that and it's one of the big rivalries of college football. Even though I think if you think that Notre Dame's biggest rival is USC, Michigan's biggest rival is Ohio State, but these are two of the classiest college football teams of all time. So for me, this is just a feather in the cap to know it's going to be Michigan, Notre Dame, back at it. You know, if it's under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium, under the lights at the Big House, it doesn't matter. We're going to get it again, and it's going to be a brawl. These games have always been pretty emotional, highly motivation, and it's going to be – I'm so happy that they're doing it again, and they're bringing it back to, you know, they're bringing it back. So I'm thrilled. I cannot wait to see it happen. Michael Bullock, my fellow Wolverine brother, come on, wax poetic on this great moment.
Oh, this is just an unbelievable moment. One that I think both sides can say that is very excited that they're bringing back the Michigan Notre Dame rivalry. I mean, when it comes to my team, the Michigan Wolverines, I look forward to a lot of the rivalry games. Of course, when it's Michigan and Michigan State, or the big one, Michigan and Ohio State. But nothing gets me more excited when Michigan and Notre Dame go at it. And I'm glad they're finally bringing it back. I mean, we've seen a lot of great matches in the past when it comes to these two teams, and I want to see one of these games under the lights, whether it's at Michigan or at Notre Dame. I mean, that's something worth putting in prime time, and yeah, and so I'm excited as a Michigan Wolverine fan, and of course Notre Dame fans, I'm sure they're very excited too. So glad to see the rivalry back. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to you.
Yes. All right. Until the Major League Baseball Power Rankings, we pretty much spoken our piece. We're scheduled now at this time to have Derek Ferreira come in. Derek is setting up, so Derek will be Derek's going to be coming. Will be coming back in just a little bit. We're going to have ourselves another. He says he has another big story from Sports Tech. We're going to have another Sports Tech segment, another huge story when it comes to Sports Tech, and he's also going to get into the expansion of the 2016 Rhode Island high school football season. It's going to be expanded to 14 teams apparently, and Derek's going to have some thoughts on that, and then from there, of course, we'll have our double main event of the evening. And we're going to preview UFC 201, the pay-per-view that's going to be taking place tomorrow night at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta. And then we'll have our newest installment of the Major League Baseball Power Rankings. The Notre Dame Michigan thing. I'll go a little more deeper into this while we wait for Derek to come in. Very exciting time for all of us here at Strictly Sports, to have Notre Dame and Michigan coming back. We thought it was dead, but knowing that it's coming back, it's great. And we've got some exciting things coming up here on the shows. Our formal wrestling forum shows. My Monday night show, Ridiculously Raw, and Fletch's Tuesday show, the Cerebral Smack Talk, and then we only have a handful of regulation Strictly Sports shows left. Obviously this week, and then another show next week, and another show the week after that, because I believe Derek said that on Friday, August 19th, we're gonna have our big SummerSlam preview show, which will take the place of Strictly Sports that night. And I believe August 26th, the week after that, should be our season finale before we go into our NFL Friday shows. So it's coming, folks. I mean, it's really coming, and I mean, we're looking at only 4 more regulation, at least 4, maybe 5 more regulation strictly sports shows before we go into our football shows in about 4 or 5 weeks from now. And I can't believe it's going to be almost time for that. I mean, we couldn't be any more excited about that, in addition to the awesomeness that we're already doing right now with our brand new Wrestling Forum shows. And we couldn't thank you any more in advance for your support on that. So I'm very anxious to see what Derek has in store for us, especially with this sports tech segment. All right, here he is now. So Derek Ferreira, you got another big sports tech segment coming up, and you also have the Rhode Island high school football expansion. That's news to me. I like to know what that's about. And so with that said, Derek Ferreira, front and center.
Yeah, by the way, that Rhode Island Interscholastic League story that I'm going to break, expect a major rant out of it. That's all I'm going to say, because, I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about that, to be quite honest with you, and I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag with that. But first of all, sports tech, let me just say the big surprise. I'm sure people did watch my Facebook Live video just I would say about 2 hours ago, and they already knew what it is, but to our fans out there, this past Monday, PlayStation Vue announced to NFL football fans that coming soon to their network, the NFL Network and the NFL Red Zone, both of these channels will be launching in time for the NFL regular season this fall. Of course, you can enjoy your favorite gridiron matchups with the streaming features. The thing about PlayStation Vue, and I did not really talk about that last week because I really didn't spend a lot of time on that. And what I like about that service is you do have a DVR in there as well. You do have a very good search feature, discovery tools, and it allows the users on the same account to watch the networks on multiple devices at the same time. So what are you going to get with this? And I'm actually on the Vue channel right now as we speak. I'm trying to get which service is going to be in. There's really nothing at this point, but I will reveal the prices of the PlayStation in just a moment for all you wonderful fans out there. So you get the Thursday night football games. Now remember, it should be noted that all Thursday night football games will be on Twitter as well, because the NFL not too long ago made a deal with Twitter, and they're going to be streaming all 16 games as well. You also get Game Day Morning, A Football Life, Timeline. You get news, fantasy coverage, and I should announce that in the next couple of weeks, I will have our Strictly Sports Fantasy Football League up and running, probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks, so to say, usually around middle of August. And with NFL Red Zone, you can watch the big moments from NFL games on Sunday afternoons, which you get cuts from stadium to stadium and delivering the most exciting plays as they happen. So PlayStation Vue users who subscribe to NFL Network and NFL Red Zone, in addition, will have access to the channel through Watch NFL Network, available on NFL.com, the NFL app across connected TV devices, and via NFL Mobile on your Windows, your iOS, and your Android devices at no extra cost. Yet, it does sound from the wording of the press release that they came out with that this is going to be an add-on or one of the higher PlayStation Vue packages. Sony hasn't really released any details of costs or packages at this time. but I will give you some of the packages that they do have. They do have something called the Access Slim, which is 55 channels, and that is about $30 a month. Let me see. And that's just your basic regular channels that you have, like your ESPN, your ESPN2s, your FS102s, NBCSN. What's interesting for us here in New England is we don't get this on Cox, the New England Cable News Network, NECN, which is a big deal. I think you get it with Verizon, but not on Cox because, Cox has their own deal with, NBC 10. You do get the Core Slim. This could be the Core Slim as well, which is $35 a month. That is, other channels you get on there is beIN Sports, the Big Ten Network. You get your local CSN from Massachusetts. You do get the ESPN News, ESPNU. Let's see what else you get. You get NBC Golf. You also get the SEC Network as well in addition to that. And Access, which is the most expensive one, which is $45 a month. Basically, now, hold on. Yeah, actually, Elite, I do apologize. Elite, which is $45 a month. You do get other channels on there as well. Let's see what you get. You get ESPN Deportes. You do get a lot of Fox Sports channels. I think it's Fox College Sports Network. You do get a whole variety of Fox Sports as well. There's a lot of MTV stuff. Of course, MTV made some big news this week with MTV Classic coming. That's going to be part of that package as well. You do get the SEC Network, and that's pretty much about it. So this is open forum. Anyone wants to take it, take it.
I have more, Derek. I have more of a question regarding our. You just
Sure.
broke the news. You just broke the news about our fantasy football league. Which site are we using?
CBS Sports Network, which is exclusive to Strictly Sports.
Fair enough. Okay. So, yeah, that's really all I needed to know. I don't know about Fletcher Bullock if they have any questions about that little tidbit that Derek just dropped about. Now, what is this? PlayStation? One of the PlayStation consoles?
Yeah, PlayStation Vue, which is you can get it on Apple TV, Sling. If you do have the PlayStation 3 or the PS4, you can also get it on that as well.
All right. Yeah. But I think we're all set here. Fletch says he's good. I'm sure Bullock. I don't know if Bullock's all set. I'm sure he's probably all set. So one more question about our fantasy football league, if I may, before we move on to the big news and your big rant about the Rhode Island High School Interscholastic. And that is, you say you're going to have it running in a few weeks. Do you have any details about when our draft is and whatnot?
Not at this time. I can't comment at this time.
Fair enough. All right. So I think we're all set here. You pretty much gave us all the schematics there. That's big news indeed. So so with that said, let's move on to your next topic there, Derek.
All right. So this is something new that we're going to try to bring on Strictly Sports since we are in a new era, and we want to have that new era theme, not just with professional wrestling, but also with Strictly Sports. So a couple of weeks ago, and this was in the paper, I would say 2 weeks ago. This was on Channel 12, part of their, their sports wrap. The Rhode Island Interscholastic League, and this is a local story for those that are national sports fans of ours, and I wanted to bring this in. Expanded to 14 teams for the high school football. So basically, I'm on the site right now, and what's going to happen is there's going to be 3 divisions. Instead of the 4 divisions that we've had in high school football, there's going to be 3. So as always, East Providence has always been in Division One. So East Providence, and this is broken down into two divisions, by the way. Their division will have Bishop Hendricken, who, by the way, for those that don't know, they are the state champions. They've been state champions for the last 5 years, and they have dominated football here in Rhode Island. Cranston West, Portsmouth, South Kingston, St. Ray's Academy. We always call them, we call them St. Ray's. It's St. Raphael's, but St. Ray, St. Raphael's. They're back in Division One. It's been forever and a day since they've been in Division One. I can tell you some interesting games that we've had against St. Ray's. Woonsocket, and in Division 1B, let me pull this off quickly. You got Barrington High School, a new school in Central High School based out of Providence, Cranston East, Cumberland, LaSalle, which this is kind of where it kind of does tick me off about our game with LaSalle now. Because, you know, for those that don't know, LaSalle and East Providence have always been a rival. Thanksgiving Day, and I can tell you a lot of stories about Thanksgiving football. Me, Bullock, and Fletcher, we can tell you all sorts of stories with that rivalry. I mean, that is the Red Sox and the Yankees. It's Notre Dame and Michigan. LaSalle's the Notre Dame, where we're the Michigan Wolverines. And I know you guys are just talking about that. Rogers, they're from Newport, by the way, and Tolman High School out of Pawtucket. So, how do I feel about this? I don't like this. I do not like how they did this realignment. I think it's despicable. I think the Rhode Island Interscholastic League should be ashamed of themselves for doing this. I understand that so many people were upset because the last couple of years has been all about LaSalle and Hendricken. And I get that because they're Catholic schools. Well, Hendricken's a private school. LaSalle is a Catholic school. And you know what? They recruit. I've heard stories for many years that they've recruited. And they recruit a lot of these great football players. I understand that. But the reason I think they did this was because it's all about trying to rival Massachusetts. Now, Massachusetts has a very but they have a very good high school football season. They have like 5 Bishop Hendrickens over there. If you watch their Super Bowl from Gillette Stadium that they do every year, there's at least a couple of private schools that play over there. And what's really upsetting to me is there is 4 Super Bowls. So the tournament itself is going to be 8 teams. For those that don't really follow high school football here, it used to be 4. Now there's 8 teams that are going to play. Now in the semifinals, whoever wins the semifinal matchups, they go into the state championships. They're calling it the state championships for some odd reason, where the loser of the semifinals plays in the Division I Super Bowl. So it can be a public school. Like, let's say, for example, it could be, I don't want to be biased over here, it could be Cranston East against St. Raphael's. Or Cranston East against... It can't be Barrington because Barrington is in the Division 1B. I'll say Portsmouth because, you know, Portsmouth, they've played us well the last couple of years, you know, based on, you know, covering high school football. So Division 1 basically becomes a consolation game. So, you know, the state championship thing, if you really want to put a state championship, put other schools involved. I mean, there's a lot of good schools that can compete with LaSalle and Hendricken. Moses Brown. I am shocked that they did not go into Division One. The last 2 seasons they were undefeated, and that's the private school too, Moses Brown. They should have been in our division. I would have loved to see East Providence and Moses Brown play. But, you know, they were talking about this, you know, in the Projo article that they were trying to do like a Super 5 or a Super 6 division. I think they were going to try to implement some schools from Massachusetts. But I understand because of the scheduling conflicts. I would love to see private schools in Rhode Island go up against private schools in Massachusetts. Let's see who the best is. But they can't because, you know, scheduling conflicts and, you know, the long drive. I mean, there's a lot of schools. Hendricken would have to travel at least 70 to 80 minutes to play a game. But hopefully they fix the system. I mean, a lot of people are not liking this. I know this is all about, you know, interest of fairness. It was about, you know, we don't want to play Hendricken and LaSalle. I got our schedule, East Providence schedule. So Labor Day weekend, they had the injury fund tournament. And then the following week, they got to play Mount Hope, which is a non-league. That's our first home game at Pierce Field. The following week, Bishop Hendricken at Pierce Field, the first league game of the season. Then we got 3 road games. St. Ray's Academy. It's going to be great to play St. Ray's. I mean, we've had some great rivalries. I remember 2002 quite well. I'll just share this quick story. Thanksgiving, day before Thanksgiving, 2002, we had a minor snow event, and they had to cancel the Thanksgiving game, and then they played it on a Saturday. And then a couple of days later, we were supposed to play St. Raphael's on a Thursday, but we had a snowstorm on that Thursday. We had like half a foot to like 8 inches of snow. They had to cancel that game. They moved it up to Tuesday night. St. Ray supporters were sitting on our side of the field because there was a lot of ice. And I understand, I mean, East Providence, you know, the ground crew at Pierce Field, you know, they've done an awesome job. I know the guy that works at Pierce Field, I mean, keeps it in great shape. We actually won that game, and I'll get more into LaSalle in just a bit. I mean, we've had some great games with LaSalle the last couple of years. I mean, even when we were in high school. And then 2003, we played them yet again, and I remember that game. It actually was in the low digit. Temperatures were in the teens to low digits. And it was a really cold night, and we actually won that game. I remember coming home, and my hands were all, I couldn't even move my hands. It was just like being at Lambeau Field for that one game. And then we did win the Super Bowl in 2003. Then we played Woonsocket. Honestly, a lot of people say Woonsocket should not even be in our division because Woonsocket, the last 2 years, I've only won 3 games. So I think that's an easable win right there. Then we play South Kingston. That's a tough game because South Kingston actually did play well last year. Then October 14th, which I think is going to be Townie Pride Night, we play Cranston West. And then we have the bye week on the 21st. The 28th, which I think is going to be a homecoming game, we play Portsmouth. Then we play at Cranston Stadium on November 4th. Against Cranston High School, Cranston East, because, like I said, they're in 1B. And then Thanksgiving. A lot of people are going to be ticked off what I'm about to say. We're playing LaSalle, because that's always been a tradition. It's a non-league, but guess where we're playing? It's not at Pierce Field. It's at LaSalle. Really? Really? When I just saw that, I was like, what the? I said it, what the hell? Let me tell you this right now. I have been watching I've been going to East Providence football games since 1997. 1997, I have been to those games. 1997, that was a special year because I don't know if Florio, Fleck, or Bullock know about this. Sandy Gorham at that time, we all know coach of East Providence. His nephew passed away tragically in a car accident. It was a drunk driver that caused it. I heard about this. Yes, Scott Gorham. I remember that. Yes, Scott Gorham. And I remember
Actually, it wasn't a drunk driver. It's that the driver of the car, which was one of his friends, actually lost control. And yeah, I remember the story very well too.
Yeah.
He lost control, and Scott got ejected out of the car because he wasn't wearing his seatbelt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't want
I
to go any more than that, though.
Well, I heard the story when first day of school in Martin because Mr. Gorham's wife was actually a teacher over there at Martin, and she took like a leave of absence, and and everyone wanted to know like what happened. I'm like, I wanted to see Miss Gorham. I was like, ask her how her summer was, and a lot of people like told me, we should tell you this. Did you hear that her nephew passed away? And I was like, no, because I was actually out of the country when this happened, and they played that year. They went undefeated. They beat Hendricken. And then, of course, in 99, we beat Hendricken in the Super Bowl our first year in EPHS. And who got the pick in that game? Michael Bullock's friend, Jamie Silva. That game was not a five-star classic, but it was more of a defensive game. Junior year, of course, EP and LaSalle, they went, they were undefeated on Thanksgiving. We lose to LaSalle 14-6, and then we lose to Portsmouth in the semifinals. And then senior year, we get hammered by LaSalle. We played them very well in the Super Bowl, and they did beat us in the Super Bowl. It was like 21-18, something like that. And that was some of the great years of East Providence football right there, was 97 and 03. Because, I mean, the East Providence-LaSalle rivalry was the main attraction. And then that Thanksgiving game we had to play on a Saturday. And the Super Bowl game, which was scheduled for a Saturday, downpours, they canceled the game. They play the next day. LaSalle's beating us 21-6 at halftime. Second half, guess who has a big game? Bullock's boy, Jamie Silva. Big game. I believe he ran for like 200 yards in that second half. 3.5 to a 4-star game. And then this is where I loved my favorite East Providence LaSalle game. 2003. An Indian summer. 70 degrees at game time. 15,000 people. 15,000 people at Pierce Field.
I remember this game. I know where you're going.
Game of the century.
Yeah.
That's what
Game of the century.
It was a game of the century right there. 21-21 at the end of regulation.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it was so packed that they literally had to have the people sit on the hill. Now, if you know East Providence, there's a hill that actually leads down to behind the goal post. They had to open that gate open to have those people sit there. And they only do that one time a year, and that's for the fireworks at Pierce Field. They don't open that gate to that part anywhere else. They had to literally open that hill because so many people came in, because the EP side was sold out, the LaSalle side was shockingly sold out. Like, normally EP you get a good couple thousand, but like Derek said, it was sold out. I've never seen anything like it in all my years. Go ahead, Derek, you can continue.
Yeah, it was 21-21 at end of regulation, and we won 28-27 because LaSalle missed the the extra point, and then LaSalle started beating us. Of course, in 2006, we beat them in that Mud Bowl game. I remember that quite well. I mean, downpouring on Thanksgiving. I remember coming home, my pants were all wet. That was the last time we won the state champions, and LaSalle just beat us they just whooped us the last couple of years after that. Even beating us 66-7 at one point. So yeah, a lot of people are asking me, how's EP going to do this year? I can see this team in the playoffs. I mean, the problem with EP is they lose a lot of seniors, and I think a lot of the parents are reluctant not to put them in EP because they hear about the school. I mean, the school has been... EP itself it's a hot mess right now. The boilers don't work. There's a lot of problems, inside of the school. They have to do repairs, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see EP. I mean, Jay Montero, who now coaches that team, he brought something fresh when he came in. I mean, we've always hated that wishbone offense that Coach Gorham has always did, I've hated it, but Jay Montero, the thing about him, he implemented a new system. He implemented that system that he used at Bryant, and who knows? I mean, I think this team could go semifinals, can get into a Division I Super Bowl. I mean, St. Ray's, we haven't played them in quite a long time. The games I'm kind of worried about is Hendricken, South Kingston, Cranston West, and Portsmouth. Because Cranston West, they have owned us the last couple of years. Portsmouth, they play us very tough. And, Cranston East, I think we can beat them. But the game with LaSalle, man, oh my God, why? Why at LaSalle? I mean, I've heard stories for many years, the reason why they played at Pierce Field as the home team, they didn't want to play at Brown because it was too expensive for them to play at Brown. So Pierce Field was the cheap option. And back then, their field was actually inhabitable. They couldn't do a Thanksgiving game over there. But I do hear some good stuff. I mean, they do have some seating. But I think it's because this is now a non-league game that obviously a lot of people don't want to see non-league anymore. But it'll be interesting if these two teams actually play in a quarterfinal or semifinals. And this is where a lot of people were pissed off about last year, was because they were in the playoffs. A lot of people wanted to see a playoff game on Thanksgiving. LaSalle said, nope, we're playing this as a non-league. Okay. Do you know that a lot of college football teams play on neutral ground, like Texas A&M and Arkansas? Notre Dame and Boston College played on neutral ground? You guys can't play a game on neutral ground? That's an excuse. I'm sorry to say that. It really is. They could have had a playoff game. They could have made a ton of money for a Thanksgiving playoff football game. But, it is what it is. We can't cry over the system. So I'd like to get everyone's thoughts on this. I know Bullock, I mean, he's been at those EP games. I know Fletcher has. I know Florio hasn't. So it's open mic.
Yeah, I've never been to any of those games. I know you all have, and yeah, this is definitely big news when it comes to the Rhode Island Scholastic Football League, without question, to say the very least. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this new format goes down. But EP and LaSalle playing at LaSalle, I don't think I don't know that's ever happened before. I mean, that's big news right there. That's major breaking news right there. And but I mean, you guys know more about this than I do. I don't really follow the high school football, to be honest with you. So whoever wants it next, it's feel free, like Derek said.
You know what? I gotta say, I'm in a state of shock right now. That the East Providence LaSalle game not being at Pierce Field on Thanksgiving is an ultimate slap in the face, man. I mean, you know what? They ruined the tradition by making it a non-league game. They further ruined the tradition now to have this game out of Pierce Field. Absolutely, positively, no point whatsoever. It's disgusting. I'm furious. I know East Providence and Woonsocket has played each other in non-league games before. And I think there was a year where actually EP has won both their games against them. So I mean, to see them coming in, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Even though even though Woonsocket is a former division champion, they won, I think, in Division 3 or Division 4. They are division champions. So I mean, they do have that, opportunity to play. We'll wait and see what happens there. But it's like you said, they're trying to cater around to try to be more, more better, more modern, a more open look than they've done before. Almost like a la a Champions League type thing, because you always had like the big six, and then you had everybody else down in Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. So, I mean, I understand why they did it, but I just don't think, like you said, and Derek, you are absolutely right. For Moses Brown not to be in Division 1 is beyond me, and I'm even floored that they didn't even do it, because let me tell you, if Moses Brown was in there, oh my goodness, because I think we'd be a little worried about Moses Brown, but think about Moses Brown versus LaSalle, Moses Brown versus Hendricken. Those would be wars that I know we would put our money, that we would actually spend the money to go to Warwick or go to Providence to see those games. That would be absolutely nuts. But, it is what it is. So if anybody else wants to take it, go ahead. If not, then we'll move on.
I guess we're all. I guess that we've all spoken our piece. So, all right. So with that being said, now I believe it's time for our double main event, if I'm not mistaken. So, UFC 201. The UFC 201 event will be live tomorrow night from the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, exclusively on pay-per-view. So it'll be headlined by a welterweight title defense by Robbie Lawler, ruthless Robbie Lawler. And all right, so the cards as follows. Preliminary card on UFC Fight Pass will be Cesar Arzamendia against Damian Brown in a lightweight match. Michael Graves versus Bojan Velusovic in a welterweight match. And then it'll move up to Fox Sports 2 this time around for a preliminary card. Wilson Reese against Hector Sandoval, flyweight match. Anthony Hamilton against Damian Grabowski in a heavyweight bout. Ross Pearson against Jorge Masvidal in a welterweight match. And Ed Herman against Nikita Krylov in a light heavyweight bout. But I know we're only talking about the main card here. So here's the main card for the event. In a flyweight bout, Ryan Benoit against Freddie Serrano. Francisco Rivera against Eric Perez in a bantamweight match. Matt Brown versus Jake Ellenberger in a welterweight bout. In a women's strawweight bout, Rose Namajunas against Carolina Kowalkiewicz. And then in the main event, of course, the welterweight championship matchup, ruthless Robbie Lawler against Tyron Woodley. So either Derek or Fletch, whoever wants to break down the UFC 201 event first off, whoever wants it first, it's yours.
I just got some news right now on one of the fights. there have been reports about Justin Solkins. He was actually removed from the main card. There was supposed to be a fight with him and Ian McCall, but that fight is not going to happen because there was a weight cutting issue. So the UFC really hasn't announced a replacement fight. So we might see one of the mid card bouts, well, one of the FS1 card fights probably moved up to the main card. We'll wait and see what happens on that tomorrow. I'll be watching that main card and the UFC fight as well. So let me see my notes over here. So now that fight is not going to happen, we'll get into the bantamweight fight, at least for now. You got Francisco Rivera going up against Eric Perez. Who did I have winning this fight? I had Rivera winning this. I mean, this is not like... I'm not really huge on this. You know, I think, honestly, this should have been an FS1 card because you have the other contenders in the bantamweight division being regulated to the prelims, but I really think that the UFC could use the exposure in this division. So, you know, so let it be it. Rivera's record in the UFC is 4-4. 4 of those losses came in his last 5 fights. But Brad Pickett has real reason to feel fortunate after, you know, the split decision win in February. Perez, meanwhile, is 5-2. I mean, he's had an easier ride, and he's actually beaten credible opponents, but you know, I have to go with Rivera in this one. I actually have Rivera winning this by a knockout. So I keep losing. Let's see. Yes, I do have Rivera winning this by a knockout. Matt Brown versus going up against Jake Ellenberger. Okay. This is an easy one to call. Matt Brown's going to win this fight. I mean, Jake Ellenberger basically has disappeared as a contender in this division. If he can beat Matt Brown, this basically is a fight where Ellenberger has to win. Because if Ellenberger does not win this fight, he's cut from the UFC. Matt Brown, meanwhile, has lost 3 of his last 4 fights. I think the problem with Ellenberger is I just think he doesn't have, you know, he doesn't really have his kickboxing game anymore. And he was a great boxer, and he had a great takedown game as well. Many people were comparing him to GSP, but once Ellenberger got tested, that's when I kind of think he lost his aura. And, you know, you never know. I mean, Robbie Lawler, we've seen Robbie Lawler, what he's done in the UFC the last couple of years, where, you know, when he came back, he became that fighter. And that's what you see with Ellenberger. To me, this is a fight he has to win if he wants to stay. But I just don't see it happen. I want to see him be, you know, that fighter he once was. But I think Matt Brown's going to win this fight. I have it by knockdown. And then the co-main event. Now, this is a very important match, the co-main event. It's a women's bout. It's in the strawweight. You have, you know, Namajunas going up against Kowalovic. All right, so let me get into this. Whoever wins this fight is going to fight Johanna. I always can't say this name. Johanna Johorovic. I mean, Namajunas, her advantage is, she's taller in this fight. She does have a better reach advantage. So I can see why Namajunas is the favorite here. But, she's also going up against, competition as of late. Some of the tough fighters. But Kuralovic, or however you say her name, we know she's a Polish fighter. She actually defeated opponents like Katarina Feria, Mizuki Inoue, and what she does is, she wears down her opponents, and that's on her, not her ground game, standing up, and that's what she likes to do. She's a stand-up fighter. Namajunas, she is approved. I understand, she is a favorite in this fight because she is a power fighter. She can outstrike you and knock you out. She has the ability, but I think I could be wrong here. Namajunas could win this fight, but I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Kuvilic to win this fight. And then in the main event, Tyron Woodley goes up against the champion and ruthless Robbie Lawler. This is an easy fight. It's really... I got Robbie Lawler winning this fight over here. And you have a Tyron Woodley who has not fought since last year. And his last fight was against Kelvin, I can't even say it, Gastelum, but he was supposed to fight Johnny Hendricks. That fell through because he had, well, not him, but Johnny Hendricks had some medical problems. And the thing about Woodley is, he's this is a fight where you have a striker against a wrestler. Woodley is this great wrestler. And what he's going to have to do is, if he wants to win this fight, he's going to have to put Lawler on the ground. And he can actually punch. And he can finish you out with a power punch. But he will use his takedowns. And that's something that is his bread and butter. He's a very low activity fighter. He uses long periods of stalling if he can't get, a guy like Lawler out of the fight quickly. But he is a power fighter, like I said, and if he can rock Lawler, he could actually knock out Lawler. He could actually finish the fight. And, Woodley, he does have the wrestling, but Robbie Lawler, can he counter that wrestling game? I say yes. He has a great counter wrestling game. Robbie Lawler, we know, has been on a tear ever since coming back to the UFC. His defensive wrestling has improved, and he's been successful in stopping takedowns. And this is not the first time he's went up against a great wrestler. Johnny Hendricks, great wrestler. He beat Johnny Hendricks. Rory McDonald, a great MMA wrestler. He beat Rory McDonald. I've always known Lawler, and I've watched him in Elite XC Strikeforce. His striking is really good. He has power in his striking, and he's just like this beast when he fights in there. But really, the thing with Lawler, and you kind of see with him, is he's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde fighter. He has these good fights, then all of a sudden he struggles, and this is where he's lost rounds. And I understand. We've always said that Lawler, there were 2 fights that he should have lost while he was a welterweight champion. And it's because of that. But Woodley, a great wrestler and big power. This could be a doomsday scenario for Woodley. And so I want to say Robbie Lawler wins this fight. And also to say it like this, these 2 guys are teammates as well. So they know each other very well. And that's what I'm going to be looking at this fight tomorrow night. I think with this being a stand-up fighter going up against a takedown fighter, I never say this in MMA. This is a psychological fight. And what do I mean by psychological fight? You have two guys that know each other. They train with each other. Lawler knows that Woodley's going to try to go for the takedowns. Woodley knows that Lawler's going to try to finish the fight. So I could say Lawler wins by a knockdown, but also my plan B, this could go the distance because of that. So expect some great action tomorrow. Of course, I do have the UFC bars. Some of the locations where you can watch this. Obviously, the big spot, Dave and Buster's. They'll be open. Actually, I just got the updates right now. So, what's not far away, the Wild Zebra on 245 Allen's Avenue in Providence. That is the nearest. Dave and Buster's in Providence. The Snookers as well in Providence. Those are the nearest. You do have a Picasso's Pizza and Pub in Warwick. You have another restaurant in Warwick. Buffalo Wild Wings, yes. They're actually going to have this tomorrow as well. And then you got Boneheads Wings Bar in West Warwick. Buffalo Wild Wings in North Smithfield. And that's just pretty much it. I'm not going to get into other parts of Massachusetts. I know that's probably like the farthest. I know TGI Fridays in Massachusetts, one of the TGI Fridays has it in Stonington. What's unconfirmed is the Brass Monkey on Allen's Avenue, Ladder 133 Sports Bar and Grill on Douglas Avenue. You do have an Irish pub in Pawtucket, Bailey's Pub in North Providence, Office Kitchen and Bar in Warwick, Scotty's Pub in Fall River, not far from here, but if you go to those establishments, call them and see if they will have those fights tomorrow. But right now, the best place to probably go to is either the Wild Zebra or Dave & Buster's in Providence. So whoever wants to take it, take it.
I'll throw it to Michael Fletcher. Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on this UFC 201 card?
Yeah, like I said, it's not the most deepest fight card, even though I think going in, we had this very interesting situation going. But if you remember, the co-main event initially was supposed to be Benson Henderson. Actually, no, I stand corrected. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson was supposed to put the title on the line against Wilson Rivas and as the co-main event, and because of the fact that unfortunately it was Mighty Mouse Johnson had to pull out due to the undisclosed injury, and now Wilson Rivas is now on the undercard, basically on the preliminaries against Hector Sandoval, which, but now based off Derek's news, why don't you put Rivas back on the main card? He deserves it. I mean, he was initially going to fight for the title. He deserves to be on the main card. As a matter of fact, I think he should be the first fight of the night, at least in my eyes. But we'll wait and see what happens. So, let's see. I agree with Ferreira. I think Matt Brown is going to defeat Jake Ellenberger. Rose Namajunas I think she's going to win. I mean, she looked absolutely phenomenal after she did a virtual dissection of Paige Van Zant, which not only angered my friend Alex, but also left me shaking my head because I'm a big Paige Van Zant fan, and I was stunned at how badly she got beaten up. As far as the Robbie Lawler Tyron Woodley fight, I agree with Derek. I think Robbie Lawler is going to win, but personally, I want to see Tyron Woodley win the belt. I'm not a big fan of Robbie Lawler. I think he should have lost the belt twice already. The first one against Johnny Hendricks, I'm sorry, I disagree. I thought Hendricks won that fight. And then the last fight with Carlos Condit, I was absolutely furious with that fight. I damn near blew a gasket that night. I went on a sadistic. I was gonna go on a cerebral viper rant. It's a good thing it was late in the evening. I got to cool down, but I was heated at the end of that night. So, but I'm gonna go with Robbie Lawler, but I would not be shocked if Tyron Woodley wins because it seems like lately there's been this case of like what they call the shock of the underdog. So at the end of the day, I agree. I think Tyron Woodley's gonna give it a good effort, but I kind of feel like Robbie Lawler is gonna win the belt and keep it and successfully defend the title. But especially what's been happening lately. Some of these unbelievable fighters who've been very dominant lately has been losing. From Mauricio Verdum losing to Stipe Miocic, losing the heavyweight championship. Then we had Michael Bisping knocking out Luke Rockhold and Michael Bisping winning the middleweight championship. And Anthony and I was there to see it at UFC 200. Miesha Tate losing her bantamweight championship title to her bantamweight championship, and she lost the belt to Amanda Nunes, and one recently also. We also saw Eddie Alvarez taking out. Who did he take out? He took out a dominant. Rafael dos Anjos. He took him out, knocked him out, and he became the lightweight champion of the world. So, I mean, as far as what's been happening lately with all these title fights, these underdogs that basically nobody gives a chance to has pulled off major upsets. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm not sold on Robbie Lawler. I'm not his biggest fan. I haven't liked what I've seen. He's fought 3 times as champion. 2 times I think he's gotten away with it because of the judge's decision. 1 against Rory McDonald. He actually absolutely deserved to win that fight. So we'll see what happens. And that's it. So it's time for the power ranking. So Anthony, it's yours.
Major League Baseball power rankings are here and now, and if it's okay, I would like to start it off. I got them all ready to go. Easiest power rankings I've done in a long time. I'm going to be real honest with you. I have absolutely no qualms about my list here whatsoever. So I do have one honorable mention that I do have to mention before I start it off, and that is the Colorado Rockies. Where in the world did this team come from? Goodness gracious. I mean, you can make an argument they're the hottest team right now. I mean, they've won 4 in a row. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, but the record is still under 500. You know our rule. The rule is the record has to be at least 500 or better to qualify. They keep this up. Next week, there's a realistic chance this team could be in the power rankings. So, Colorado Rockies, more power to you, boys. You're doing some great things right now. Really are. Very impressive, especially what they've done in the first 2 games against the New York Mets. Unbelievable. Of course, when it comes to our duds, the first dud, first and foremost, despite the fact that they're a first-place team, it's the San Francisco Giants. I mean, they've lost 2 in a row, and they're 2-8 in their last 10 games. I mean, they have the worst of all the teams. They have the worst record in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break. I believe I remembered seeing they were 2-10, I believe, since the All-Star break, and it looks like they're going to be 2-11 because they're losing right now to the Washington Nationals 4-1, and that game's in the bottom of the 9th inning. So it's safe to say the San Francisco Giants are going to be in the dud house yet again, just like they were a week ago. Fletch and I, we sent a very strong message to the G-men. So that's that. Another dud, the New York Mets. I hate to say it, but they've lost 3 in a row. They're 4-6 in their last 10. And the Miami Marlins have taken a step back. They've lost 2 in a row, and they're 4-6 in their last 10. So I'm really not liking what I'm seeing out of them. I mean, I loved what I saw last week, but not this time around. So, sorry, they're out. So, I think I pretty much covered all the bases here. So, no, I think I've pretty much covered the bases here. So, yeah, I think I have all my honorable mentions and duds out of the way. One more dud, and that is, do I have one more dud here? No, I don't believe so. So I think I pretty much covered all my honorable mentions and duds. Colorado was my only honorable mention. So they're on the outside looking. They're basically my number 11, if you will. So so now we're going to get into it. Starting off at number 10, this was a team that we had at number 1 a week ago, but I'm dropping them down to the number 10 spot this time around. Good record, but it's just that I think they deserve to be. They still deserve to be in the rankings. It's just that the body of work lately has been terrible, and that is the Boston Red Sox. They're going the wrong way. I mean, they stopped the bleeding tonight. They beat the Angels tonight, 6-2 up in Anaheim. So it's a win-1, but they're 4-6 in their last 10 games. Even though they I mean, a week ago, and this was why I didn't want to have them as the number 1 team. I mean, I didn't really trust them. But Michael Fletcher, basically twisted my arm, almost figuratively hit me in the back with a sledgehammer like Triple H did to Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 2002. We all remember that. He says, "You will put the Red Sox number 1. They deserve to be number 1, not St. Louis." I'm like, all right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I was reluctant to, but after what's happened in the last week, I hate to say it, but I was right. I was right about them. I wasn't feeling them. Case in point, a week ago, let me see. What do we have? Okay. They split against Minnesota 2-2. But then they got swept 3 in a row by the Detroit Tigers at home. They lost to the Angels Thursday night, but they bounced back against them tonight. They're in the midst of a long road trip, like Bullock informed me of last night during our boys' night out. 2 more games against the Angels in Anaheim. Then they go up to Seattle for a 4-game series at Safeco Field. And then next weekend, a huge interleague series with the Los Angeles Dodgers before coming home on my birthday to host the New York Yankees for a 3-game series at Fenway Park. So I know Fletch and I had a major disagreement a week ago about where to position the Sox. I wanted them at number 2 myself because I thought St. Louis was playing better. I reluctantly gave Fletcher the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not. I don't usually like to be one who says I told you so, but in this case, I have to do it. I told you so. I wasn't feeling them, and sure enough, I was right. Shouldn't have been number 1 last week, to be honest. Sorry. So, but they're number 10 this week only because of the record, but they deserve to be punished big time. I mean, you split against Minnesota 2-2, but then you get swept by Detroit, and then you follow that up by losing to the Angels the first game. So, long road trip, a West Coast road trip, that's not going to do any favors. So, number 10, Boston Red Sox, I'm sorry to say it. So, Michael Fletcher, I hate to do it to you, but I told you so, man.
And I went one further. They're not even in my rankings. They're out. They're completely out. What you didn't put there, Anthony, was that, yeah, they're 4-6 in the last 10 games, but they are actually 2-6 since we've done the power rankings. they've actually lost. This is only their second win since we did the power rankings. So they're only 2-6 in the last week or so. So yeah, they don't deserve to be in it. I'm sorry, I disagree. Um, the body of work, like you said, it just doesn't pan out or give me any level of trepidation to do it. But my number 10 is another team that's actually been hitting the skids lately. They've been 5-5 in the last 10, and actually losers of 4 in a row, including tonight. Last night I should say. The Baltimore Orioles. They've been struggling. They've been so bad lately. Yes, they're a division leader. As a matter of fact, they got the second best record in the American League. Actually, the third best record in the American League overall by percentage points. But I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't find the good graces. I was gonna say, I could have easily. No, after what they've done and the way that they made me look like an idiot. Nope, not gonna happen. Game over. Baltimore is my number 10.
All right. Michael Bullock. Michael Bullock had to call in a night because he has work commitments in the mornings. So, but don't worry, you'll see him again Monday night for our all-new episode of Ridiculously Ross. So, all right. Now we're on to number 9, and Michael Fletcher, you started off.
All right. I'm gonna stay right in that same division. I'm gonna stay right in. It's another 5-5 team. I'm gonna stick right around, and I'm gonna give it to the LA Dodgers. 57-45. They're 2 games out. My goodness. Whoever would have thought? At one point you guys were dead in the water because San Francisco was being so good, and now it looks like San Francisco might be giving you the division on a silver platter. Like Anthony said, one of the worst teams coming out of the All-Star break, and all of a sudden, LA has caught fire. Yeah, they've been sputtering a little bit. I think they might be looking at a couple of moves here and there. We'll see what happens then. But they're looking a lot better than the Giants. So my number 9, I'm going to give it to the LA Dodgers. So Anthony, it's yours.
I made an error on my rankings there, Fletch. I just missed it. The Boston Red Sox actually were on my dud list. I forgot to mention that.
So they are out. Okay.
Yes. Had them in my dud list after further review, as the old saying goes. My actual number 10, I actually do agree with you. It was the Baltimore Orioles. They've lost 4 in a row. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games. The only reason why they're still in it, of course, is they're a first place team, but not by much. Only up by half a game on Toronto, which will be up a little bit higher, and 1.5 up on Boston. So, but the Baltimore Orioles, not playing like a first place team right now. They've lost 4 in a row, 5-5 in the last 10, like Fletch alluded to. Let's see, since our last rankings, well, here's the thing. They swept the Cleveland Indians last weekend at Camden Yards. That's their saving grace right there. But then they did lose 2 out of 3 to the Colorado Rockies, the red-hot Colorado Rockies at Camden Yards. And then they lost a makeup game to Minnesota on Thursday, and then losing the first game of a huge 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Not just AL East implications, but power ranking implications as well. 2 more games against the Blue Jays at Skydome this weekend, and then it doesn't get any easier for the Orioles because then they have to play another first-place team, the Texas Rangers,
when they come to Camden Yards on Tuesday night. That's a 3-game series, and then next weekend they start a 3-game series in Chicago against the White Sox, which is part of a long road trip. They're gonna be on a long road trip, a 10-game road trip with 3 in Chicago, 4 in Oakland, and then 3 in San Francisco. So yeah, it's not going to get any easier for the O's. So Baltimore was my number 10. You got that one correct. And number 9, yeah, great minds think alike. The Los Angeles Dodgers are my number 9 as well. I mean, the 5-5 in the last 10, and I believe they're playing at this hour. Yeah, they're right now playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. 8-7, they lead. So we'll keep an eye on that. Arizona's just been absolutely dreadful, if I'm being quite honest with you. As dreadful as those uniforms are. I mean, good grief. I mean, the D-backs, those D-back unis are horrible, if I'm going to be real honest with you. Let's get into the Dodgers here. Let's see what they've done. Okay, since the last rankings, they took 2 out of 3 from the St. Louis Cardinals up in St. Louis. They split a 2-game interleague series with the Tampa Bay Rays. They won the first game but lost the second. And right now they lead the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-7. That game going into the 9th inning, so it looks like that could be a win right there. 2 more games against the D-backs this weekend, off on Monday, and then they go up to Colorado for a 3-game series against the White Hot Rockies. And then next weekend, a 3-game interleague series with the Boston Red Sox at Dodger Stadium. So that should be an interesting series right there. And take it from someone who loves interleague, that's going to be a lot of fun. Trust me. So the LA Dodgers are my number 9. So I agree with you there, Fletch. All right. Moving on to number 8. And my number 8, another easy call here. Another first place team, the Cleveland Indians. They're my number 8 this time around. Also 5-5 in the last 10. They're currently 1 in a row as far as the streak is going right now. They currently lead the AL Central with a 58-42 record, 4.5 games up on the Detroit Tigers. And I'll tell you what, Detroit's definitely going to be in our rankings, no question about that, because they've been playing some good ball as of late, especially after what they did up in Boston against the Sox this week. So let's see what we have here with the Indians. Even though they got swept by the Baltimore Orioles 3 in a row at Camden Yards last weekend, they went 1-1 in a 2-game interleague series with the Washington Nationals. That was at Progressive/Jacobs Field. They won the first game 7-6, but lost the second game 4-1. They were off on Thursday, and then they rebounded with a win tonight against the Oakland Athletics. They beat them 5-3 in Cleveland. 2 more games against the A's this weekend, and then they got the Minnesota Twins coming in for a 3-game series. And then next weekend they go up to New York for a big 3-game series with the Yankees at Yankee Stadium next weekend. So and they'll see those Nats again. They're going to be seeing the Nats again on my birthday and the day after for a 2-game series up at Nationals Park in DC. So there you have that. Cleveland Indians number 8. Michael Fletcher, do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, Anthony, you said Cleveland Indians at number 8. No, I'm going to give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Yes, Cleveland deserves to be number 8. No arguments here. I'll roll into number 7, and I'm going to actually, to keep this 5-5 trend going, I'm going to give you a team that is actually winners of 2 in a row, and that is another division leader, I'm gonna give the Duke here to the Texas Rangers. They, like I said, 5-5 in the last 10, winners of 2 in a row, and they actually knocked off. They actually defeated the reigning defending World Series champions, the Kansas City Royals. Even though the Royals have not been a good team this year, I think the World Series hangover has definitely been in full effect. And as a matter of fact, another team uh, has been getting annihilated by the World Series hangover has been the New York Mets, to say the very least. But no, like I said, 5-5 in the last 10 games, winners of 2 in a row, 60-44. They are 4 up in the division. Houston is basically the only other team that's kind of right now, that could maybe can catch them. Seattle's a little too far behind because they're 7.5 out, but nah. Texas should be all right. They should be able to get the job done. So yeah, the Rangers are my number 7. So Anthony, what is yours?
We agree again. Texas Rangers. We're basically going with the same formula here. The last 10 winning streaks, the whole 9 yards. Rangers are 5-5 in the last 10, but they have won 2 in a row. Since our last rankings, they went into Kansas City and beat the Royals 2 out of 3. The only downside is they did lose 2 out of 3 to the dud Oakland Athletics. That's not going to do you any favors. But so far, 2 for 2 against the Kansas City Royals in Texas this time around. And I do agree about the Royals. The World Series hangover has definitely gotten to them. They've lost 2 in a row, and they're 2-8 in their last 10. Safe to say they're a dud. 2 more games against the Royals this weekend. Then they're off on Monday, and then a huge 3-game series at Camden Yards against the Baltimore Orioles, a battle of first-place teams. Definitely some power ranking implications, as well as some, you could say, quote-unquote, maybe playoff implications. That could definitely go a long way towards home field advantage in the American League. Because remember, the AL has the home field in the World Series by virtue of their All-Star Game victory. And then after they go to Baltimore, then they have a 3-game series with their state rivals, the Houston Astros. And then, after they wrap up with Kansas City, they're going to be going on a 8-game road trip. 3 in Baltimore, 3 in Houston, and then 2 in Colorado as part of one of those unique interleague series. 2 games in Denver, and then the other 2 games in Texas. So it's a 4-game series altogether. And that's going to be around my birthday. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Texas have been one of the best teams in the American League. I do believe they have the best record in the American League, 60-44. And they've been really enjoying feasting on that Royals pitching. I mean, they're definitely having some fun they've been knocking the Royals around. So that's basically it on that. So Texas Rangers are number 7 in the power rankings this week. So now we move on to number 6. And as far as my number 6 is concerned, this team is definitely on their way to another win. And I believe this will get them to 5-5 in the last 10 with this win. Because right now they've won 2 in a row. Even though they're 4-6 in the last 10, I think if this win holds up, it should pull them to 3 in a row and 5-5 in the last 10. And that would be the Washington Nationals. The Washington Nationals are my number 6, 16-42, 5.5 games up on the Marlins in the NL East. And because, like I said, they currently lead the San Francisco Giants right now. And I believe
It's gone final.
Yes, it has.
It's gone final. 4-1. They got it.
So I believe that should be 3 in a row and 5-5 in the last 10. So
yes, it is.
So this number 6 pick should be justified. So it is indeed the Washington Nationals at number 6. And well, this is the saving grace for them. Because last weekend they lost 2 out of 3 to the San Diego Padres. And and that was at home. I mean, and then they split that 2-game interleague series with the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland, lost the first game, won the second game. But so far, so good. They've gone into San Francisco, and they've taken advantage of the Giants' free fall. I mean, the Giants, my goodness, 2-11 since the All-Star break. That's the worst record of any team since the All-Star break, if you can believe that. Said it coming from a team that's won the World Series each of the last 3 even years in 2010, 12, and 14. We thought the pattern was going to hold true this year, but if they keep playing like crapola, well, they ain't gonna go. They ain't going near the World Series. I'm sorry to say it, but we'll talk about the Giants another day. But we're talking about the Nats. Lost 2 out of 3 to San Diego, 1-1 against Cleveland in the Interleague Series, and so far 2-0 in this this crucial 4-game series with the Giants. Which, as of right now, if the season were to end, this would be a division series matchup. So this would be the division series matchup. So that would be most interesting. 2 more games against the Giants this weekend. Then they go up to Arizona for a 3-game series with the Diamondbacks. And then next weekend, they get the Giants coming. They will host the Giants for a 3-game series. So looking forward to see. And then they start and they'll be in the midst of an 8-game homestand. 3 with San Francisco, and then Cleveland comes in for 2 for a 2-game interleague series on my birthday. And then the weekend after that, sorry to say, Fletch, your Bravos are coming in, and I'm sure they're going to be feasting on that Bravo pitching. I'm sorry to say. So, yep. So that's pretty much it. Washington Nationals are number 6, and judging by my numbers here, Fletch, I don't know if it's just me, but I think I just justified that pick.
Yeah, well, it was one of those where you start looking around and you start thinking, was this going to be a worthy enough pick? And yes, it was going to be a worthy enough pick. We didn't know if it was going to be an actual legit or if we're going to have to wait and see. But no, it actually panned it out. It worked. So no arguments here, at least for me. No arguments. And yeah, my number 6 is the Washington Nationals as well. As we now creep into the top 5 for the first time tonight. My top 5, well, all right. I think people are getting a little sick and tired of us talking about 5-5 teams. All right, that's fine, guys. So let me throw you a 6-4 team. And let me just make sure that this is actually the right 6-4 team, because there are so many right now that are there. All right. The first 6-4 team, this is a tough call because of the fact that I was so down on them at one point. I said there's no way they deserve to be in the 6-4, in the power rankings. But because of the fact that I kind of feel like, all right, that because a lot of the other teams that are 6-4s, they're under, and there's one team that really sticks out, but I don't want to put them yet because, like I said, it needs to, because I kind of have a feeling of how the rest is going to go. So, the first 6-4 team is the New York Yankees. Yes, they're losers of 2 in a row, and they're 6 games out of the division at 52 and 50. But I kind of feel like they're deserving of the spot. So, as much as I may I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that one, but I kind of feel like this is as good as you're going to get because, like I said, the top 4 teams that I got in mind, they're really, really, really good, and they're really strong, especially the top 3. There should not be any arguments here. So my number 5 is the New York Yankees. So, Anthony, it's yours.
No, you make another great point. I mean, even though they've lost 2 in a row and they're 6-4 in the last 10, I think the Yanks do deserve to be in the top 5 as well. Here's the reason why. I mean, you remember they took 3 out of 4 from Baltimore recently, but over the last week, look at what they've done. They took 2 out of 3 from the San Francisco Giants. Then they followed that up by taking 2 out of 3 from the Houston Astros in Houston. That's not easy to do. But they have lost 2 in a row. They won the first 2 games of that Houston series, and then they lost the third game 4-1. Then they were off on Thursday, and then they did lose tonight to the Tampa Bay Rays 5-1 up at Tropicana Field. But because of the fact that they beat San Francisco 2 out of 3 and Houston 2 out of 3, two playoff caliber teams, they definitely deserve to be in the top 5. And they're still playing some good ball despite the record. 2 more games against the Rays this weekend up in Tampa, and then guess what, Fletch? You ready for a little Subway series? I know how much you love the Subway series as much as I do. 4-game series. It's one of those unique 2-2 series against the New York Mets. First 2 games are at Citi Field Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday the Mets come into the stadium, and then next weekend, of course, that series with the Cleveland Indians. That's a 3-game series in the Bronx, and then of course on my birthday. Starting on my birthday, a 3-game series against the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Happy birthday to me. And I got to see them on my birthday 5 years ago. So, awesome. So, with that said, yeah, New York Yankees, number 5. Anytime you can beat San Francisco 2 out of 3 and Houston 2 out of 3, yeah, they definitely deserve it. So, with that being, despite the 52-50 record, it's good enough for me. So, all right. Diving back in here now. Number 4. Let's see who number 4 is. Well, we do have some good teams playing some good ball right now. And if we're going to base it on the records and everything else, I'll tell you right now, it's between, in no particular order, St. Louis Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs, the Detroit Tigers, and the Toronto Blue Jays. My number 4, by a slim margin, is the Detroit Tigers because of the record. They're 55-48, 4.5 games out of the Central. They're playing some good ball at the right time. Definitely, they're definitely making a playoff push here. Those other 3 teams that I mentioned, their body of work has been just a smidgen better, if I'm going to be real honest with you. Let's see what the Tigers have done. Since their last rankings, they split a 4-game series with the Chicago White Sox in Chicago. They won the first 2 games, but then they lost the other 2 games. This is the big one right here. 3-game sweep of the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Not an easy task, but they did it. They were off on Thursday, and then they followed it up with a 14-6 beatdown of the Houston Astros tonight at Comerica Park. They're in the midst of a long homestand. They're in the midst of a 9-game homestand, and so far so good. 2 more games against the Astros this weekend, and then they get the White Sox for 3 starting on Tuesday because they have an off day Monday. And then next weekend, a very big, I'm not going to say it's a huge because this team's been free falling, but they have the National League champion New York Mets coming in for 3 next weekend. So, yeah, that 3-game sweep of Boston pretty much catapulted them into the top 5. So, but if it wasn't for the body of work of the other 3 teams I have ahead of them, they would have been in the top 3. But they miss out just a smidge. It's because of the record, basically. So, number 4, Detroit Tigers. Michael Fletcher, how about it?
No, I got to agree with you. Number 4 is the Detroit Tigers. You absolutely are correct, Anthony, on that. I think we kind of have a sense of everything that is definitely going on. And I mean, Detroit has been, if you really look at them, as far as their baseline goes, they're really good at Comerica Park, 27 and 19 at home. Winners of 4 in a row. That's a nice looking stat to see. 4.5 out in the divisional lead. I mean, they're looking really good. They're looking really, really good, to say the very least. So yeah, like I said, the 6 and 4s are looking really tough, and we just gotta wait and see what happens there. So, so I guess it's on to number 3. Yeah, it's on to number 3. All right. You know what? I'm gonna do it. 6 and 4 in the last 10 games, the normal standard. But the one thing I know a lot of people are not gonna like what I'm about to say, but I have to do it. They are right now the team with the best record in all of Major League Baseball. I gotta do it. I'm sorry, Chicago Cubs. But I will say this. The Aroldis Chapman trade has already paid dividends. Already on a major impact on this team. They're 33 and 16 at home at Wrigley Field. And their run differential, I mean, is unbelievable. They're a plus 166. That is the highest average or highest run differential in all of Major League Baseball. So far this year, the Chicago Cubs has scored 521 runs and only surrendered 355 runs. The only other team that's actually even remotely close to that is the Washington Nationals, and their run differential right now, Anthony, is a plus 116. Unbelievable. Chicago is poised to possibly become the World Series champion. They've had an amazing season, to say the very least, and who knows, this could be the year that they might break the curse. I think to get Aroldis Chapman might have been the final piece of the puzzle to possibly a World Series title. We'll see. We still got a few more months to go, but I'll say Chicago's looking really good. Chicago is number 3, unfortunately, because of the body of work that they've done. I know they probably deserve to be number 1 because of because of having the best record, but 2 other teams is actually a little better, so that's why. So, Anthony, it's yours.
No arguments here. Chicago Cubs are number 3. I mean, you're absolutely spot on with that. And, I mean, the last 10, we take that very seriously, as you know. And, I mean, yeah, I mean, every point you made, I mean, spot on. Absolutely spot on. I mean, that stat, that plus 166 run differential, that's amazing. And then we talked about the Chapman trade earlier in the show, and yeah, I mean, that's going to pay immediate dividends for them, no question about it. I mean, you said it already has. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely spot on there. And, it's been 108 years since this team has last won a World Series, and I mean, wow. So that's basically all there is to say about it. So, as we look at the Cubs' body of work, since our last rankings, I mean, they have the best record again. I mean, I know they had a free fall a little bit, pretty much since the month of May, but batting average needs work, 15th in that. They're 4th in runs scored. That's good, 521. They've allowed 103 home runs, which is 7th, but key stat here, first in ERA. 3.26. That's a very big deal. I mean, it's not all about the hitting. I mean, pitching wins championships too, I don't know if you're aware of that. So, and to be first in the league in ERA, that's a big deal, very big deal. So let's see what we've done. Okay, they took 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers up at Miller Park last weekend. Split that 4-game series with the Chicago White Sox. They lost the first 2 at U.S. Cellular Field, but then they won the other 2 games at Wrigley Field, and then absolutely holiday hammed the Seattle Mariners this afternoon, 12-1. Goodness gracious! 2 more games against the Mariners this weekend, including Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, by the way. And then a big 3-game series with the Miami Marlins. They got the Marlins coming in for a 3-gamer starting on Monday night. Then they're going to be off on Thursday, and then they go up to Oakland for a 3-game interleague series with the Oakland Athletics before returning home on my birthday to host the LA Angels of Anaheim for a 2-game interleague series. So, but yeah, I mean, the Chapman trade definitely puts the Cubbies in the catbird seat, and coming from respectively a New York Yankee fan and an Atlanta Brave fan, as a fan of the game, as 2 fans of the game altogether, the one team that we want to see win at least 1 World Series in our lifetime. We said that if there was one team we'd want to see do it, that team was the Chicago Cubs, with the lineage and the history that this team has, and because we have a great friend and super fan and an insider of our show, Matt Ward. I mean, he celebrated 3 Blackhawks Stanley Cups over the last few years. I mean, you know how impossible he's been with those Blackhawks Stanley Cups. Can you imagine how impossible Ward's going to be to deal with if his beloved Cubs actually not only go to the World Series, but actually, God forbid, win it? Oh, ho, ho, ho. If they do win the World Series this year, that will literally be hell freezing over. No question about it. So, Chicago Cubs number 3. Now to number 2. This was a bit of a tough one. But I had a bit of a tough time with it. But when all was said and done, based on a body of work, my number 2 was the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays are my number 2. They've won 1 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Since the last power rankings, this was the crucial spot right here. They lost 2 out of 3 at home to the Seattle Mariners. That was a killer right there. If it had gone the other way, maybe Toronto would have been number 1. But they lost 2 out of 3 to the Mariners. They did take 2 out of 3 from the San Diego Padres in an interleague series. They were off on Thursday, and then tonight, a big win against the Baltimore Orioles, 6-5 at Skydome. I know it's called Rogers Center, but I don't care. Fletch and I still call it Skydome, and we're not ashamed to admit that. The Blue Jays are now half a game. They're just half a game behind the Orioles for the AL East spot. And 2 more games against them this weekend at Skydome. And then they go up to Houston for a 4-game series starting Monday. And then on next Friday, next weekend, a 3-game interleague series at Kauffman Stadium against the World Series champion Royals, a rematch of last year's ALCS in Kansas City. So with that being said, it was close, but I looked at the body of work, and losing 2 out of 3 to Seattle definitely was the determining factor. So number 2, Toronto Blue Jays. Michael Fletcher, agree or disagree?
I agree. I definitely agree with you. Toronto is number 2, no doubt about it. What they have been doing lately has been remarkable. 7-3. They've won 1 game already. They're only a half game out of the divisional lead. I'm telling you, man, if they pass the Orioles and they take that first place spot, it's almost going to be tough for them to to lose it. I mean, what Toronto's been doing, especially the second half of the season after the All-Star break, they've been really good, and they're starting to turn it up, at the right time. And that's a scary thing, because remember, when Toronto made that big run last year, it was around this time was when they made a huge run and actually exploded out of the gates. And then after that, it was all said and done. They did not look back. They won the division going away, and that gave them the opportunity to make a great run in the ALCS. If I remember, even though they got upended at the end by Kansas City, who oddly enough went on to win the whole thing. Toronto, I think, is another team this season that if they make it to the postseason, man, they're going to be a tough out this year. I think they're going to be really dangerous. I mean, Cleveland might be is going to be interesting if they can just hold on to what they got. I think they'll be fine. I think Toronto is going to be a tough out. Texas, I don't know about Texas. I think Texas is kind of on the. I don't know what to expect with Texas, but I will say this: this has been an amazing run and the whole 9 yards. And now we go into the number one team. Oddly enough, the team that you thought that was deserving of number one last week, well, they are now number one this week in our power rankings, and that is the St. Louis Cardinals. 7-3 in the last 10 games, winners of 3 in a row. The thing that really makes me perplexed is this. They're 6.5 out in the divisional lead, so that's one strike against them. Another strike against them, they actually have a losing record at home. They're 25-30 at Busch Stadium. What's really saving them is they are the epitome of what they call the road warriors. They actually have the best record on the road. 31 wins, 17 losses. They actually have out of all the teams in Major League Baseball, they have the best record on the road. So who knows? They start playing a couple of these playoff games outside of Busch Stadium. They're gonna be a little dangerous. Who knows what we're gonna see? But they are definitely number one. The only reason why they're number one and not another team is, like you said, that credence, that rule that we have implemented, that if you are a below 500 team, you're not allowed to be in the power rankings. I'm telling you right now, if Colorado was 52-52 or even 53-52, they would have automatically been the number one team. But because of our decree and rules, St. Louis number one. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, if Colorado had been at least 500 or a little better, the Colorado Rockies most certainly would have been our number one team in the power rankings. I mean, you could have easily made an argument for them. I mean, like I said, they won 4 in a row and they're 8-2, but they're under 500. So, but St. Louis is number one. At least we got it right this week. I mean, they should have been number one last week too. And despite the fact that they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, that was at home, by the way. They were supposed to have a 4-game series with the Mets, but the first game of that series at Citi Field was rained out, bad weather. So that's probably going to be a makeup down the road. But they did get the other 3 games in, and the Cardinals took 2 out of 3 in that series against the Mets. And so far, they're 2 for 2 against the Miami Marlins in a huge playoff implication series. So that's a big deal right there. They're beating up on the Marlins right now. 2 for 2 in this 4-game series, and then they have some more road games after that. They got to go to Cincinnati for 3, and Cincinnati, well, they're terrible. One of the worst teams. I mean, they're one of the worst teams in the National League. They're not the worst. We know who that is, but I'm not going to name any teams. But I think you can connect the dots on that. But 2 more games against the Marlins this weekend in Miami, off on Monday. Then they go up to Cincinnati for a 3-game series with the Dud Reds. And then, even though they're terrible at home, the Atlanta Braves are coming to town next weekend. Yeah. Oh, Mikey, you're not gonna have fun with that, I'm afraid. But they do have that 6-game homestand, and they got the Reds coming in after that on my birthday, and then August 11th through the 14th. I want to make a note of this. The 11th through the 14th. Well, starting on August 11th, you talk about the road record, Fletch? Let's put that to the test. When starting August 11th, a 9-game road trip. 4 in Chicago at Wrigley Field, 2 in Houston for an interleague series, and then 3 in Philadelphia. Let's put that road record to the test.
That first series, the one that you just said, the 4 in Chicago,
Yep.
that could determine who's the division champion. If you think about it, if Chicago sweeps those 4 games, and if we keep the pace that they're going, that means it'd be 10.5 games. You basically could just call it like it would be over. There'd be no return from there.
Amen. I agree with that. Yeah, that 4-game series in a couple weeks, that's definitely going to be a make or break series for the Cubs. And I mean, for both teams, really, but more so for the Cardinals, because the Cubs are in the catbird seat. The Cardinals have some work to do, but Michael Fletcher made that great point about the road record. They've always been a good road team in the past, especially in all of those postseason runs that we've watched them have over the years, including the 2 World Series championships in 2006 and 2011, and then going back to the World Series again in 2013 before losing to the Red Sox. So there you go. We'll keep an eye out for it. So for at least this week, number 1, it is the St. Louis Cardinals. Even though they're 14th in batting average, they're 8th in ERA, but they're 2nd in runs scored, and they're also 2nd in home runs allowed. They've only allowed 91 home runs this year. Big deal right there. So with that said, number 1, at least we get it right this time around. It is the St. Louis Cardinals. Really should have been 2 weeks in a row, but they are number 1 this time around once again. So, all right, that's going to put the ball on this long edition of Strictly Sports, this loaded edition. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. And we're going to do our shout outs now, and Michael Fletcher starts it off.
All right, I want to say a special shout out to all the great fans out there who continues to support Strictly Sports. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys already know that. I want to give a big time shout out to all my crew at the 2184 crew. I had an amazing day with you guys as always. I'll see you guys tomorrow at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. As always, my friends from the junior high and high school days, you guys already know who you guys are. Special shout out to the super fans out there, especially Megan Silva. She actually did some karaoke thing tonight down at Luxury Box and actually got herself qualified for the $1,000 karaoke finals tournament, which is going to be going down later this August. I'm going to try to get down there, my dear. Congratulations. She actually got selected as one of the karaoke finalists for that tournament. It's a one-night event, $1,000 for the champion. That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be down at the Luxury Box in Seekonk. So congratulations, my dear, on that. And now, I do actually have a major announcement, but I'm gonna wait till Tuesday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, and it's RWA related. So with that said, you know the routine. Hug the hand pounds. I'm out. Good night, Anthony. It's yours.
Yeah, we'll definitely be looking forward to that as part of your Mikey's Mindset on Tuesday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But nonetheless, a special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make ridiculously raw, Cerebral Smack Talk, Strictly Sports. As over as they are, we appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout outs to Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. I know they had a family issue this week, but they gotten it taken care of. So hopefully all is well with them down there, and hopefully we'll get Dee Woodson back here on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. Of course, other shout outs, of course, Matt Ward we wish him continued success with his blog site, The Realm Report on blogspot.com. Check it out. It's a great read, just like Derek's blog. We'll get into that in a minute. Matt Ward, of course, Jason Nixonbaugh, who celebrated a birthday this past week. So we want to give him a special happy birthday shout out. We hope he had a blessed day. Of course, another special shout out, of course, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. We just found out he's going to be a father soon. So we wish him the best with that. So congratulations on that, Daniel. Hopefully we'll get you on a future Ridiculously Raw or Cerebral Smack Talk in the future. I mean, he was a big hit a couple months ago when he was on the original forum. Of course, our first ladies, of course, our other first ladies, in addition to Dee Woodson, who is the official first lady of the wrestling forum since she broke through. Our other first ladies, the aforementioned Megan Silva. That's awesome to hear. That's a praise God situation. Hopefully that goes well with her in the karaoke event. Kaiser Butler, our other first lady, as well as Lexi Calloway, another one we hope to get back on our forum shows in the future. Of course, our friends from our high school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez, and Bob Parsons, and of course, Derek Ferreira and Michael Bullock. Bullock had to leave early because of work commitments. And Derek Ferreira, of course, with the sports blog. Check that out. Of course, the rest of our shout outs, of course, the rest of my shout outs, rather, including all the personalities, 6, 10, and 12. They know who they are. ESPN, Fox Sports 1, Major League, the MLB Network, NFL Network, NBA TV, NHL Network, the routine. Our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson. Former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. My church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries, 464 Silver Spring Street, Providence. Check them out. They're great. Exit 25 off Route 95 if you need a church home. A big event tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. And then Sunday morning service as usual. And then Wednesday Bible study and the whole 9 yards. And, of course, my 2 special shout-outs. Julie Alexandria from San Diego, from the San Diego Padres. Wishing her continued success with that. And last but not least, my special shout-out of the week, Lindsay McCormick. I've been having a lot of exchanges with her on Twitter this week, and I commended her for her work, and we're definitely back in the swing of things again. And I wish her continued success with what she does. I appreciate her for what she does, and she's definitely one of our personal favorites here on the show, and we're hopeful that in the very near future we can get her on the show. I mean, that would be a major coup if we could get her on the show. So, all right, so that'll do it. Of course, future content coming up, as you know. Monday night, following Raw, we got another all-new episode of Ridiculously Raw, hosted by me with my panel, and of course, we'll review Monday Night Raw, as well as my Tony's take on the Cruiserweight Classic and Impact Wrestling. And then Tuesday night at 10:30 on Brace Fan 95, we have the Cerebral Smack Talk with Michael Fletcher. We're going to review SmackDown Live. And then Fletch will have his Mikey's Mindset on the ROH. And then that big news from the RWA. Looking forward to his big announcement. And then from there, next Friday night, Strictly Sports. And one topic we're going to get into, the college football playoff. The schedule has been reshuffled for future years, and we're going to get into that next week, as well as our power rankings or whatever else Derek decides to put on the docket. So all right, that'll do it for this. So we want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Floyo here saying, the routine, everybody. It's Anthony Floyo here for In Spirit Michael Fletcher, In Spirit Michael Bullock, and Derek Ferreira. The routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Cannot stress that enough. And until Monday night for an all-new Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And for now, Anthony Floyo. So long.